Hot single theorist. Looks like we're live.
Okay, yeah. Should be live.
There we go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Theory for Theory run back. My boy Brago, D.A.'s B.D.A. Law. It's been almost
2 years.
2 years since we had Brago on the channel here. October of or September 2022. Here we are in the year 2024, but I felt like this was fitting because even before we did the Theory for Theory, I think that same year, earlier that year, we were on your channel with Recon talking about 1044. And
okay. Yep.
So we shared in the the newness of Gear 5. And I felt like bringing you back would be a spiritual sequel to that now that we've seen the second individual go Nika.
Yeah, that has certainly been a discussion for sure. Now that is perfect. Yeah, because we, like I said, after 1044 was a lot of hype around, Luffy, Gear 5, what it means, what's gonna happen. So now with somebody else going Gear 5, we can definitely have a conversation. For sure. I'm with it. Let's do this.
Yeah, I feel like things that I've seen is the community's a little torn. It kind of reminds me, as far as like recent events, even though this also was years ago, was 1005 with Sanji yelling at Black Maria. I feel like there's people that are they're on the side of I like this, I get this, and then there's other people that it's like, oh, we jumped the shark, One Piece is over.
Yeah, why are we doing this?
Where do you stand?
I think initially it was jarring, right? Because Bonnie going Gear 5, it was like, I think I was talking to Sai about this, and it was just like, she's like, oh, I can't do it. Luffy's like, yes, you can. And she's like, oh, shit, Gear 5, right? It's like, in that specific page, it felt like it was just like, wait, what? But then you go back, and I forget the exact chapter, but after that chapter, I'd even done like fan art of her going Gear 4th. But it was a chapter where she said, give me a Nika-ish future. And she used what looked like Gear 3rd. And so it was like, okay, like, I guess this may be a possibility. And Bonnie's powers and how, I guess, I guess her powers are uniquely vague in a way, where it's just like, we have an explanation as to what it is, and then we talk about like how she got the powers and then what it can do and impossible futures, and then Vegapunk talks about like devil fruits and how they came to be, and I'm just like, okay, this may be possible. So initially it was like, all right, this feels like a lot. Then after it was like, I don't know, it seems like we were building up to this. And how I kind of classified it, or after a few times reading it, talking with chat, it felt like Bonnie was meeting her superhero, and Luffy was just like, hey, this is your chance to kind of just put the mask on, right? And it was like a moment that they had, and they bonded. And I thought it was like, instead of looking at it from the perspective of a fan that's trying to somewhat, I guess we can say, power scale the moment, think about like Bonnie's perspective and Bonnie's journey. We're going from seeing everything her dad went through to like just seeing it all unfold, meeting Nika, seeing the future unfold the way her dad would want it to unfold, her dad showing up when he should be dead, and now her hero saying, yo, you can do it. Her finally doing it. It's like, bro, this is beautiful. Like, this is a beautiful moment. And it's like, we shouldn't sully it with like, yeah, but how strong is she in gear in that form? I'm like, bro, that doesn't matter. That shit don't matter. that doesn't matter, bro. Like, it's not this. That's not the point here, you know. And so when it happened, I was like, bro, this is gonna be a short moment, a short thing. She's maybe gonna get a few attacks in. I think she got one, and then it's done. It was a cool moment. That's it, you know. And so I don't mind it. I feel like it's like you said, it was like Sanji and the Black Maria moment. People are using like certain moments. It's like, it's polarizing. I get it. But I think if you think a little bit, you know, and you kind of, and then again, this is the week to week thing too, right?
Yep.
Because I think for people that got caught up recently and didn't experience something like Whole Cake week to week, like they feel like, man, Whole Cake is a good arc. But week to week, you know, it was rocky.
Especially
right?
the woods.
It was rocky, right? The seducing woods. When Sanji baked the cake,
oh yeah,
it was everywhere. Like, I'm gonna bake
the
a
three
cake
chapters that ended with "I'm gonna bake the cake."
Listen, it was rocky, bro. And so like, but now when you go back, especially
Thriller
the
Bark
context
was
of
also
Wano,
rocky. Dressrosa parts of it were rocky.
Oh my god, and so something I thought about recently, bro, was like, I wonder how would the community react if Marineford was weekly.
that was, you know what? I will put that up there as that was rough too. Every chapter was like 13 pages because everything, or 8 pages, 6 pages, something, because everything was a double page spread. So it was like you were done reading the chapter in 3 minutes.
But Marineford, as far as like where the community is now, because Marineford was weekly, but like where the community is now and reacting on Twitter as big as it is, Marineford will get dissected to hell. Whitebeard, Garp, Ace. It'll be a lot of bad takes. So it's just like, you know, I think sometimes it's best to kind of just step back, you know. I think sometimes even go back and reread a few chapters because, you know, we get the breaks in between, right? And so sometimes I think people forget like what happened like past 5 chapters, and it's just like, yo, in that chapter, I don't like this. But, you know, you got to string things together sometimes. So I didn't mind it. I actually liked the moment. How'd you feel about it?
Oh, well, I mean, people, you know, they jump to conclusions too fast, as always. I mean, that's humans, right. That's society, whatever. But Oda has, you know, things planned out, even if it's not, you know, as far in advance as we always, you know, believe or speak on it. But
right, because we say it's foreshadowing for everything. Right.
But I mean, like, him having Bonnie go Nika, like, he knew what he was going to do 3 chapters, you know, from that. He knew what he was going to do in the next chapter. He's writing for the volume, not for the weekly experience. I mean, the weekly experience we get from, you know, whatever the splash panel is on the end of the chapter. That's the weekly experience. Everything else is like built for a volume. But I was explaining Bonnie's abilities for a long time. Like, as we started to see them, I was like, you know, I think this is everything everywhere all at once. Like, this is Bonnie, like, tapping into alternate realities. Right. And her being as young as she's got an infinite amount of possibilities that her power of belief can have her tap into. You know, so I was saying, like, yeah, she might go Gear 4th. She might go Nika. She might say, give me a Zoro-ish future and put a 3rd sword in her mouth, and now she knows Santoryu. You know, like, give me a Sanji future, you know, and now she's cooking and kicking and hitting, you know, Ifrit. And some people, you know, I saw a lot of stuff where it was like, no, you know, Luffy earned that. Like, he had to do all this stuff. Like, Bonnie didn't earn this. And it's like, look, Bonnie has been through her own troubles and everything, you know, on her own. We don't want to discredit that. But at the same time, it's like, Luffy is, he's different. You know, it's that, like, he could have been like, nah, you know, when you're older, when you become a great pirate, you can turn Nika. You know? Yeah. He was just like, nah, like, you can do this. Which is like a different methodology than what, you know, like, Shanks goes about these things. And we just saw Shanks recently too, And I feel like something that like really bounces off of this is his interaction with that kid in Elbaf, which was just animated.
Yeah, that just happened. I
This is a
guess with
mirror of
that,
Luffy.
like Luffy, it just made me think of Luffy in Wano, Momonosuke, where he was like, one was like, nah, I'm a kid, I can't possibly. He's like, no, you can you can stop it. And actually, like, if you don't stop it, everybody's gonna die. So you got to make this happen right now, and that's just kind of Luffy and how he operates. So, like I said,
Great
bro,
point.
with that moment, it's just one of those things that the community is gonna react to, and partially as well. I think sometimes looking at, I think even Twitter and some of the reactions on Twitter, we have to kind of not take it too seriously, because some people are posting things because they know it's going to get a reaction and they know it's going to get interactions. So it's like, oh my God, One Piece is over. One Piece is just Fairy Tail 2.0. And it's like, people positively or negatively going to react to that. So it's like, sometimes I see tweets, I'm just like, all right, whatever. I'm not going to read into it. Like, what are we talking about? So, and then there's some people that are just waiting. Like, I saw people that haven't read One Piece in like years. They're like, oh my God, this is what's happening now. I told you guys One Piece is shit. I was like, you don't even have context. You know what I'm saying? So, nah, bro. You're not. You're not hearing that.
So, but basically, my stance on it is that none of this changes my perceived view of what Oda's like true intention of the story is, and that's like to inspire. This is
right.
This is a story about dreams, achieving your dreams. We've got impossible sounding dreams. I want to be, brave warrior of the sea. Like, what does that mean? I want to map the whole world. How are we like that? The whole world? The whole world. Okay.
It was impossible.
Yeah, but Luffy is designed as a character to make that sound easy. And I love the Momonosuke example because it's like he has this like innate ability, and maybe we learn later on that that's actually part of the fruit or something as well, and that's why the Gorosei have been so afraid of this fruit for 800 years, is because something tied into what Mihawk was talking about in Marineford with the most dangerous ability on these seas, tied with the the Nika fruit. If this fruit is the key to unlocking a like level of belief and allowing people to achieve whatever they want, there's a part of me, and a large part, that makes me feel like this is actually the direction that Oda is heading with the story, and that maybe Gear 5 isn't so much a product of Luffy's fruit, but could be the highest point of Haki. And that what Bonnie was doing isn't actually an imitation built from her devil fruit, but something that Luffy inspired her to achieve, meaning that other people would be able to do it as well.
So it's basically the highest form of belief, believing you can do it, and then achieving it in your own way.
Yeah, because all of this to say that I think, like, this is my like tinfoil theory right now, that somehow we're gonna get Sun God Usopp.
Sun God Usopp. Tell me more about that one.
So I feel like if we start getting into Elbaf, and we get a situation where Luffy is able to inspire Usopp, or he's able to see what Bonnie is doing, and think that he can do it as well, I think it would break the entire game if we see someone that doesn't have a devil fruit achieve this. And if it comes at a pivotal moment in Usopp's, just character arc or anything like that, that may be the moment where we understand that he is a brave warrior of the sea. If it's something like he just screams out to the sky, give me a future where I'm the most brave, and then he turns into Nika, Man's got God on his wanted poster, literally becomes a god, the god of the giants. He can start entering this pocket dimension that Luffy is able to tap into, where he's able to pull objects out of thin air, manifest things, which is actually just hockey. Like when I can't help but go back to like Rayleigh saying that armament is just an invisible suit of armor. So if hockey is an invisible suit of armor, that means you're manifesting it out of thin air, in the same way that Luffy like made goggles appear out of nowhere. Tekkai and some of the Rokushiki stuff, that you're manifesting something out of thin air. If this is all coming from belief, and you have the Gorosei stopping people from believing or putting these ideas into people's heads that you can't do anything, and meanwhile Bonnie was kept in a church her whole life, so no one ever said you can't be a giant, you can't be Nika. So she didn't have these mental blocks in her head to say, I can't do this. She does it. Usopp has the most mental blocks out of any character. So if we're going to talk about character growth, breaking that down and achieving some sort of higher level like a Nika form would show that the most negative character in the series has shifted and found something positive.
I think with Gear 5 Usopp, that would probably break the community more than anything.
I know.
That's happened.
I know.
If Usopp pulls up with Gear 5,
real 10-ton hammer.
Yeah, I think that would be like insanity in the community. Usopp pulling out Gear 5. I saw a picture recently where it was like all the Straw Hats were in Gear 5. Just using Gear 5 Luffy. But I mean, with that, I don't know, because like for Usopp, what I kind of see with him in Elbaf, it's almost like we talked, because we recently got revealed about like the Supreme Grade Blades. Another one with Fujitora having a Supreme Grade Blade, which we're up to 5 now. Yeah. Right? 5 now. And so I think for Usopp, like in Elbaf, I don't know if they're going to be any super major fights, but I expect Usopp to kind of break through. And I expect now, talking to people, it's like Elbaf definitely is going to have a supreme grade weapon, right?
Yes. We're at the end game of the story.
Where Elbaf definitely has to have one. Somebody did mention more than likely it could be a spear, right? Because you have the attack, the spear of Elbaf is based off of the actual spear. Maybe nobody could wield it before, and I think it's going to be like one of those where Usopp has to kind of break through, and maybe he can wield the spear, or maybe it's a hammer he has to pick up.
Mjolnir.
Yeah, which goes back to belief, right? And maybe Luffy helps him achieve that. You mentioned Rayleigh as well. Something that Rayleigh said. Did he say like that? I think what was it, chapter 500, 600? Because 500 was his introduction, but it was a 598, I think. Where he talks about, he says, no doubt is true strength, right? That's what he tells Luffy.
Which echoes what Saturn was saying to Bonnie, where like your power is waning because you're not believing.
You're not believing, right? And so, like you, I started to think about just like how, in a way, how Oda's crafted the story. It's kind of it's kind of based on creating doubt, even in the audience's mind, right? With certain things, it's like nothing is ever really clear cut. It's always caveats, like some of the arguments we have all the time. Then we have like characters that are literally in the verse created created to cause doubt, right? With like big news, right? And these things are there, and I feel like if we as the audience, we have doubt in certain things, imagine the people that don't have as much context as we do. They're gonna doubt everything. Whereas like recently one of the chapters you had Leo. He's like, oh dang, I guess Luffy did do it. Right? Right? So it's just like I think that's what makes Luffy's power even more impressive in this world, because it's just so much doubt, so much nuance. And so having somebody that believes no matter what, you're going to shine through. You're going to be like, a shining star every time, because the doubt, it's built in. And then you have the world government actively, that's their job, right? Doubt, separation, segregation, because, the more people that believe, the worse it is for them. So Gear 5 Usopp, that would be, because if Usopp goes Gear 5, then at that point, all the Straw Hats.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't stop
possibly
there. But I think that that's what's being set up, man, because you got, I got a whole, tinfoil board about everything with Gear 5, and I've had it since 1044. I mean, you have the Sulong transformation.
Right.
That looks like Gear 5.
It does.
The Tamate pills.
Hody. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I've been tying all of this stuff together. So it's like, if there were pills to turn people into Nika, like if they were trying to like augment or try and capture that power, put the the power of the sun into a pill, and this is something that the technologically advanced ancient kingdom created based on their their god, their savior, their king, whatever, if it was Joy Boy or if it was the real Nika, whatever. But it's quite possible that there was an army of Nika powered individuals that based on the Tamate pills, they ran into, I think there's a chance the final war was that, just a whole bunch of people,
a horde of people using Gear 5 powers.
Yeah, and then they all turned old, and that's how they're
lost. Old and they didn't last long enough. Like Gear 5 typically just runs out of energy. Yeah, I mean that seems to be the thing, because even with Sulong, it's like if you use it too long, you could possibly die. So I mean, when you think about it, it could be some way where like Gear 5 powers can be replicated. I think it would just be interesting if it can be replicated through everybody having different ways to do it, because of like how their powers work. Because remember Zoro manifested like more arms out of nowhere,
right?
He
does not have a devil fruit.
He does not have a devil fruit. For Sanji, we already know that he, with Ifrit Jambe, all the different stuff. And so something a show I like a lot is like Magi. Not sure if you ever seen Magi. Where basically if you have like a vessel, like the main vessel, the other, like, I guess companions, they get stronger based on the main vessel, and their powers kind of come from them, right? So I mean, in a way, the Straw Hats already do that. I think they're stronger because they're with Luffy and because of their belief in him. But if in some way Gear 5 can be passed along, and then their powers are enhanced because of Luffy, and then they can tap into their own form or version of, I guess, Nika, I'm not too mad at it. It's like, but if Zoro's going like Gear 5 saying, like using Nika powers, I don't know. I don't know, Randy.
No, I think there would have to be their their own versions of it, and I think that's where that kind of comes into play with this whole idea of like, if you think it, you can do it. There's the quote from the narrator in chapter 218 when the ship's falling. Physicist Willie Gallen. Anything in this world that if people can believe it, think of it, it can be true in reality.
Vegapunk said as much.
That's what I was going to get into next. He basically just echoed those words, and he said that anything that you can believe can be brought into reality, including the devil fruits, implying that the devil fruits were manifested through belief. Like
Yeah.
that's what we're led to believe. Someone wanted to turn people into toys, and the hobby fruit just shows up on a fruit or on a tree, whatever.
I don't know if we talked about this with the hobby fruit, like, where I don't think it's. I think it'd be different if somebody else ate it.
I think
Where
I think every fruit is different.
it's different if
somebody eats it, unless they've seen the other person use the other fruit.
Interesting. So,
like, I think if we see Joy Boy, he'll be using the fruit differently than Luffy did.
okay.
Because he likely wouldn't have been told, hey, this is the rubber fruit. So he would have a different perception of this than what, like Shanks tells him, like, oh yeah, you can stretch now. So it's like, you're already telling me, like, what my limitations are.
So you're placing those, you're putting me in a box before.
You're putting me in a box.
Happens.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's what the Devil Fruit book is also. It may even be a thing where every fruit is a blank slate, but the Devil Fruit book is propaganda. It's just you eat the fruit and it like amplifies the the potential that you have, but all devil fruits are actually just one thing until you're put into a box and you're told, hey, you can do this now. It's like, okay, well, that's what I can do.
I mean, when you think about it, like, do you think it's possible that the limitation of not being able to swim exists because you were told that
yes,
if you have a devil fruit, you can't swim?
Mm-hmm. I think that's a way to break it, man. I think anything at this point, with everything that Saturn's been saying, everything that Bonnie's been doing, this is all just propaganda now. And whether or not the Gorosei have devil fruits, which is a whole other discussion, and like I think that it's possible they're actual yokai. But if they do have devil fruits, they are moving in the water right now.
Yeah. Which it could be Imu has achieved what Luffy possibly could by giving powers to his subordinates. And so it's not just straight up devil fruits. They just have, he's manifested the powers of devil fruits through his power, because I mean, they are moving in the water, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I agree with you, perception is reality. Like going back to the hobby fruit, I do think like that's just, those are things that Sugar wanted to achieve with the fruit, and then boom, she ate the fruit, and then like, I mean, possibly next to Bonnie and shit like that, Law, one of the more broken fruits in One Piece, where like turns into a toy, erases your existence.
But speaking about Law, right?
Yeah.
What did he do? He just imagined that he could do Corazone's fruit. Just access.
He didn't earn it, Randy. He didn't earn it. Why did he do that? He didn't earn that. What is he doing? What is he doing? No, but the thing is, it's so weird because people love that moment, where it's just like, dang, he can tap into this power, which is like, I mean, I don't know how he did it,
right?
But like, it's something that, it's something that he wanted to do, and he was able to use his powers. So like, I think that was dope. You know what I think it is? I think sometimes people forget that this is One Piece, right? And that, bro, we have the most random, ridiculous stuff happening. We have a knock-up stream. We have Sky Islands. We have moon people. You know what I'm saying? We have all this stuff that's happening. We have minks, right? We have Tantata. Like, it's a ridiculous world. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, sometimes I think some things just like regular logic isn't going to apply. It's just not going to apply. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. And so for the longest, I remember us trying to make sense of like Red Hawk. Like, what is it? I remember I made a video talking about like, what is Red Hawk? It's like him and the Force or whatever. It's like, I don't know, Luffy's...
No, it's him. He's imagining that he just wants it to, to access some flame, and then he's doing it. Like, if we just break it down to the most simple things right there, and we just say, if you think you can do it, then everything makes sense in the story. If you go back and you look at that Willie Gallen quote and you say that's the thesis for One Piece, that's what Oda like thinks about everything, then everything suddenly just starts making sense, whether people like it or not. It's just like that's just what it is. Very motivated in the chat, Superton said, with that line of thinking, does that mean that awakening of fruit is breaking away from those limitations? Another way that I look at all of this too is there's a lot of Shintoism, there's a lot of Buddhism, Hinduism. I mean, every religion, but I mean like enlightenment, opening your third eye. Like that's what a lot of this feels like. So it's like when you're breaking away the limitations, it's basically once you break those walls down and realize, oh wait, I can do anything. And it's just these are these moments. So it's like when I remember reading Enies Lobby Weekly and saying, how is Zoro doing this? How is Sanji doing this? Where did all of this come from? If Oda just says, oh, they just thought that they could do it. Papag was a starfish and said, I thought I was human.
Now he's walking. I mean, when you put it that way, right? When you put it that way, because it's the lens, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, it's the lens that what you look through. Because when Luffy gets to Gear 5, he's like, this is my peak, right? And then he starts doing all this incredible shit. And then I remember the discourse around that is like, how can Luffy do this? Like, why is he doing this, right? And then I remember like I'd make videos and I'd talk about him like, yeah, Luffy can do anything. And they're like, no, he can't do anything. He's doing anything in the confines of rubber and like. And then he pulls out goggles and like, all right, now what? Can you, is that,
yeah.
So I mean, we saw like Kizaru make clones out of light. I guess it goes back to just what you can believe. I mean, I guess, but let me ask you, is there anything? This just made me think of Blackbeard too, with him eating 2 devil fruits. Is that propaganda?
More propaganda. They don't want people to, start becoming too powerful or achieving that awakening early, anything like that.
Because if that happened, because I know for a fact, like if that happened today and somebody just randomly ate 2 devil fruits, they'd be like, yeah, what is going on? This is ridiculous. That's not what you said at the beginning of the story. Like, how can you eat 2 devil fruits? I don't know.
I don't know, but I mean, like, the other thing too is Luffy's now the warrior of liberation, right? One of Blackbeard's attacks is called liberation, so it's just like, what does this man know?
Blackbeard is such an interesting case, and Oda's done a spectacular job of like just not even spoon feeding or drip feeding. It's been just a slow build up of just like who he is, what he represents. And obviously Blackbeard has his own idea of like what freedom looks like, and what he wants to achieve. And I don't know, Blackbeard, obviously he's kind of like, you can say the opposite of Luffy in certain ways, right? And how he goes about things, like how he doesn't believe in like just being friends to be on a pirate crew. It's just like, yeah, we have the same goals. It is what it is, So I think for Blackbeard, how do you think belief applies to him per se? So
the interesting thing about Blackbeard that's different from Luffy is that Blackbeard, and I noticed this by like I did a read of the series, but only the Blackbeard scenes. I was like,
oh, okay.
I was like, I'm skipping everything else. I'm just focusing on the through line that Oda has done with Blackbeard. And the key things that always come up is that either he, Doc Q, Augur, somebody in his crew is talking about fate, predestination, like everything like that. So they feel, whereas like Luffy's moving around freely, Blackbeard feels like everything's already written. So it's like, it's just, oh, this, I thought I was going to do this, but this came into play. Like, hey, that's just fate. That I'm manifesting, the things in my life, but life wants to give me something else. I'm gonna roll with it because there's a bigger picture here. I didn't get Luffy. I'm gonna get Ace. Oh, now you're here in Impel Down. That's fate. Oh, I got washed by Magellan, but then Shiryu comes and saves me. Fate.
Now
Look
he's
at
part
this.
of my crew.
Yeah.
No, I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Because right after he lost Luffy, Ace showed up. He's like, actually, this might be better. this might actually be better because
he's like, I was just about to head to Water 7, but I mean, you're here.
This actually works out. Okay. No, you know what? Commander Ace, And then it's funny because he's like, hey, so you want to join my crew, No, I definitely like that. And I think what drove it home was an Egghead. When Katarina and Van Auger were like, no, he's special. And it's like we have two factions where you have one that believes, like they believe in Luffy no matter what. And it seems like the other side, they believe in Blackbeard. Because when you think about it, right, Luffy has done some impossible things. But Blackbeard has as well.
Yeah. Oh, no, all he does is win.
Blackbeard was a relative unknown at 40 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just a guy on Whitebeard's crew. Kills a commander on his crew. Leaves. Captures another commander. Becomes a warlord. Invades Impel Down. Leaves with the prisoners. Pulls up to Marineford. Kills Whitebeard.
Strongest man in the world.
Takes his devil fruit. The strongest man in the world. Takes his devil fruit.
Takes his territory.
Then fights Marco. Defeats Marco. Comes back. Recruits a former admiral. Yeah. I think when you start piling it up, like Blackbeard. I mean, do you think Blackbeard is the final villain?
We'll have to see. I mean, I think it's being set up that way, but it's I don't know how Oda's going to do it, and I don't like to spend too much time on that because I want to be surprised, but I just know that whatever way Oda goes at the very end, and I'll stand by this, that Buggy and Kobe will be involved because they were there at the beginning. So it's like Luffy gets the laugh tail, Buggy's gonna be there too.
Yeah, Buggy's gonna be there. Buggy's gonna be there.
And then however Oda wants to end the story, it'll be something between Luffy and Kobe, because that was chapter 2.
Yeah. Do you think that happens relatively soon after the end of the story, or do you think it's one of those situations where it's like a skip and then we get the Kobe and Luffy moment?
Yeah, I mean, it could be just like an epilogue with Luffy and Kobe.
Right.
Not that he necessarily has to be at Laugh Tale or anything like that, and like legitimately see Luffy become the Pirate King, but that would be a nice moment. I don't know if, Laugh Tale literally becomes its own arc, and that's, it's all of the Yonko, like having a battle royale for it. You've got the Cross Guild there, you've got the Blackbeard pirates, you have the red-haired pirates, you have Luffy's crew, and everything is just, I mean, there's an opportunity, there's a possibility for that. I'm not against it, but at the same time, that at that point would feel like it's got to be like every faction up against Blackbeard,
Well, do you think Laugh Tale comes before Final War?
So that's
been
my thinking.
Is important. Yeah,
that's been my thinking for the longest. If I was designing the end of the story, I would have Luffy go to Laugh Tale, become the Pirate King, and then free the world at Morijua. But now, I'm like, is it a situation where everything gets split up and Luffy actually isn't involved with the the Marine side of it, and that's the Revolutionary Army's part of it, and everything gets like split off. Like now I could see a situation based off of everything with 1085 that Luffy has to be in the same room with Vivi and Sabo, and then they have to have some sort of communication. And if it's a thing where Luffy's like, hey, I'm gonna go over here, Sabo, you go over there and do this part, and then everything is happening simultaneously because Oda wants to end the story quicker. And then the end of the story is him becoming the Pirate King, and then epilogue. But I still like the idea more if he becomes the Pirate King, and then as the Pirate King goes to Marijwa, goes to New Marineford, whatever, frees the world, knowing everything that happened. That's more satisfying to me. But I don't know. Everybody I tell that to is like, but Oda said when Luffy finds the One Piece, the story's over, and I'm like,
is that right?
Okay.
Yeah, because I was just like you on board with that, where it's like he becomes a Pirate King, and then through that influence, he goes and he liberates the world. And I started to think about it, where it's just like, if he becomes a Pirate King, and then okay, is Blackbeard there at the end, waiting for him, right? Like, is Blackbeard gonna be a laugh tail? He beats Blackbeard and then goes on, takes care of Imu. I think I'm starting to lean on the side of like laugh tail is the final thing, but then I remember it was like a thing where we talking like where Whitebeard said that once the One Piece is found, and then like there's been more things coming out saying, well, that was a mistranslation. There was the two separate statements. Whitebeard wasn't actually saying that that's going to be the end of the world. So I'm just like, I don't know what to believe anymore. And now I'm starting to think more and more that Blackbeard is definitely going to be the final villain, the final antagonist of One Piece. But then I think about it as well. I think there'll be multiple antagonists at the end, because I think when we talk about like those different factions, right? Obviously, Luffy and Sabo are going to be working together again at the end, right? They're going to have a moment. I would like to see a moment where they both kind of approach Akainu, right? Where it's just like they both lay eyes on Akainu. We get a quick flashback of Ace, and Luffy goes to attack him, and Sabo's like, no. I got to take care of this, right?
I still want Luffy to visit Ace's grave by Sphinx. I feel like that's got to happen too.
I think that definitely happens at some point, maybe, because here's the thing, right? I don't think it's talked about enough. One Piece, Luffy becomes a Pirate King. Celestial Dragons are gone. Then what? Because something that's for like all the Straw Hats, most of the Straw Hats, once Luffy becomes a Pirate King, the world government is defeated. I can see paths for Robin, right? She opens a library, right? You have Nami,
Orphanage.
Right? Orphanage, right? Brook, he's there with Laboon, right? Then you have Usopp, you have Chopper, like Zoro, obviously like a dojo at some point, or maybe he's just traveling as a swordsman. Then I'm like, what does Luffy do? Because at the end of the day, even when he becomes the Pirate King, like the Marines aren't just gonna be like, well, you're the Pirate King. It's like, you're good. You can just sail free. Like now you're like, we're still going after you. But I don't think the Straw Hats are gonna just want to sail for the rest of their lives. They have other things that I think they want to accomplish. So then what does Luffy do? Because
I think
at some point they separate.
I don't think the Marines chase Luffy after everything.
You think it's done?
I think I think the whole system gets redone. Vivi redesigns the world government. Kobe, Smoker, Fujitora, maybe, I don't know. They redesign the Marines, and it's just like, we had this whole thing mixed up, and this guy just saved the world. So, and I mean, it's a possibility also that, we still don't know why Blackbeard wants access to Marijwa, right? He wants to get there. He wants Hachinosu to be a recognized state, which is the same. It's the same line, right? It's I want to be a warlord to get into Impel Down all over again. And now Devon
They got
has
leverage.
Devon can turn into Saturn. You know, like what are they want to?
They got
like,
Garp.
Does Blackbeard
Got a lot of
kill
leverage.
Emu, sit on the throne, and then it's like that's where we
Take
fight
that
Blackbeard?
fruit. Well, Blackbeard clearly knows more than us.
Yes.
Even the readers, right? He knows a lot to, pulling up to the War of the Best and saying, yo, just let me get to Whitebeard. Let me get Whitebeard by myself, right? That's not just a hunch. That is, I know something, right?
Yeah.
I remember Shiryu specifically saying, he's like, if this doesn't work, what do we do now? Right? Because like Blackbeard, he goes to Marineford, he tries this and it works. And so now I'm like, basically he's already like, for his country, it's already basic. He's already the king of it, right? So it's not just being a king. It's not just being an official king. He wants a way in. And now you have Garp, you have Katarina, you have so many ways to infiltrate, which is like, I mean, technically, you can argue that he was building his team kind of that way. You have Lafitte, who already has a way in, right? Shiryu, Katarina. And so, at this point, and I'm not necessarily calling the Gorosei incompetent, but, like, sometimes some of their actions is just like, what are we doing? Like, so I fully believe that we get a Blackbeard damn near face to face with Emu. Like, and so it's just, I'm starting to lean towards the, like, yo, he takes Emu's powers. And then now it's like he's controlling Mary Joa, and Luffy has to go in there and take him down. It's just like he just has too many ways in, and it's been too much strategy, too much preparation for it to feel like, oh, Luffy beats Blackbeard and Luffy goes and beats Emu. You know what I'm saying? I think it's just like has to be all. I just feel it has to be Blackbeard at the end. It just feels right, based on the build-up, based on kind of like just some of the parallels there between him and Luffy.
And honestly, I would rather that than this silhouette that we only met in chapter 905 or whatever.
Yeah. We don't have the same connection, right?
Yeah.
And if Blackbeard just goes out on just like a, regular, just it's just like a team battle, it's like that was it. Like I feel like, because I don't think Blackbeard is gonna become the Pirate King, but I feel like he needs to accomplish something.
The only person in the story that has any shot of becoming it outside of Luffy is Buggy, all by a joke. That's it.
Yeah, Buggy. I agree, Buggy.
Like I feel like I've said this before, but it's like I could see a situation where like if it is the battle royale at Laugh Tale or something, Luffy's like fighting Blackbeard, and then while all of that's happening, kind of like what happened in
Cross Guild.
Yeah, well, no, we'd say that they're already there, right? But it would be like Stampede, where Buggy gets away and he finds like the One Piece first. But I would love if there was a character growth moment where like the audience knows he found it first, but he walks away, he reads everything or whatever that's there, and then he leaves and he lets Luffy be the king. Like there's something
like Crocodile and Mihawk. They ask him like, "Hey, did you find it?" He's like, "No, I didn't see anything."
Yeah, because whatever's on there like makes him realize like, oh, this is what Roger actually wanted. I'm not the guy.
This is why Shanks did what he did. This is why Roger did what he did. It finally makes sense for him now. No, I like that. I definitely like that. I think when we think about Cross Guild, they're the faction that Oda could really do anything with, just because as far as goals, they're not necessarily established. I know Buggy lit a fire under them. So it's just like now I think they're going to be kind of to prove him wrong in a way where it's like, we haven't given up. They're going to do something. And I'm just like,
well, Croc's goal has always been the ancient weapons.
Right.
So we got to see how that plays out. And
not
only that, we just when Vegapunk was in the speech, the moment he started talking about the ancient weapons, who do we see? Went to Crocodile. So
do you think
and Oda blacked out where he was so that we didn't know where he was at that time, because the last time we heard anything about Crocodile, he was supposed to be fighting some Seraphim. So he clearly got out of that situation, but Oda doesn't want us to know where he is.
Does he go to Wano?
He might. He might. He might
Because
go. He might go to Wano. He might go to Elbaf. Here's the thing. My thing with the Cross Guild, my favorite faction in One Piece, is they need poneglyphs. They are way behind. If they're gonna go for the One Piece, like, they have no road poneglyphs. So that's why I feel like they would want to pull up to Luffy, and there's an opportunity to have a Davy back. And the goal that they want to have in that Davy back is they want to get those poneglyphs. And there's a lot of things that can come out of that.
Do you think Cross Guild could meet the Straw Hats? Is Mihawk there?
Yeah, and I think that Mihawk would be the combat, and it's Zoro versus Mihawk, and it's a Davy back.
Okay, so I was gonna ask you that. When do you think that happens? Because that's something I really don't know. I have no idea when Mihawk versus Zoro, other than an epilogue, makes sense in the story right now.
It either happens, when we run into the Cross Guild again, or it happens at Laugh Tale. So it's like, no matter what, I feel like the key to Luffy becoming the Pirate King has to be rooted in Zoro becoming the world's greatest swordsman. So it's like, if it's a situation where, like, say it is a Davy bag and it is the combat round between Mihawk and Zoro, and there's things on the line, crew members, poneglyphs, everything. If Zoro loses, Luffy doesn't become Pirate King because they don't have the poneglyphs anymore.
Yeah.
If they're at Laugh Tale and Zoro loses or whatever, like, potentially
Luffy
Luffy
Piece become Pirate King. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, it's got to be that, because they're, even when you go back to their conversation in, chapter 3 or whatever, it's just like, if you get in the way of my dream, I'll kill you or whatever. But it's like, Oda has to put a situation in play that makes it hard for those dreams to be achieved separately.
You want it to be intertwined, like the all blue. If it was like not all blue and everything, it's really tying in well with what Luffy's trying to accomplish, because of just how the world's been set up with things underwater, etc. So, and of course, Nami's map, everything is intertwined. So Mihawk versus Zoro is going to be a moment where it's like leading to Luffy becoming the Pirate King.
Yeah, and
I'm not mad at the Laugh Tale fight, but then that means it definitely happens before the final war.
Savage.
Potentially.
Or is that the last thing? Like after the Blackbeard or after the Emu stuff, then it's like Battle Royale on Laugh Tale? Because I mean, it's like so many things are different depending on what's first. You know, like if we go to Laugh Tale first, that shit changes completely. We go to Mary Joelle first and then go to Laugh Tale, it's like a completely different thing. So, I mean, I think it's more satisfying if it's Laugh Tale first.
I think so too.
That's how it feels.
Like I want the satisfaction as a reader that has been, with this series as long as I am, and I feel like you're probably the same way with me. But I mean, it's like, I want to see my goats as goats. So it's like
right.
Like,
I want to see them walking around as Pirate King.
Right. So it's like, if the final war is happening and it's the Pirate King and the world's greatest swordsman pulling up, like, I'm satisfied.
It's a different level of cachet at that point. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's I
agree with that.
Luffy's not cosplaying with the coat anymore. He really is the goat with the coat at that point.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, let's go.
Let's see him that way. No, I like that. I like that idea. I mean, you want to see him in action because, like, after they become that, if it's at Laugh Tale and then it's done, it's like we never really, unless, we get some one-offs, some one-shots, etc. But you want to, like, Luffy pulling up to Mary Joelle, it's like, yo, Pirate King Luffy's here, and the world's strongest swordsman Zoro is here. It'll be like a next level, things coming together just because of how we started, right? And then going back to Baratier and everything. And then if everything happens the way we expect, and then like with everything going underwater, and then Sanji's achieving and finding the all blue, it's like that's a different feel if all that is happening with Blackbeard being at the end of that, and then Blackbeard's like, well, I'm the king of the world now. You're the Pirate King. Let's see who's the true king. you know. And then Shitty be
Oh,
like,
I
well,
like
you
that.
get.
I like
Shitty's
that.
like, you beat Mihawk. Well, you know, let me just take that title from you too. Whereas
Right.
like we have these people who achieve these things, and you have Blackbeard is like, well, we're just gonna take those things too, like we took everything.
I
So you know
like
what?
that. I'm in for that.
Yeah, I think I'm on board with Mary Joa being the last thing. They go to Laugh Tale. They achieve those things. Now they pull up on the Blackbeard Pirates, King of the World, Pirate King. You have Mihawk, or Zoro just beat Mihawk, and Shiryu's like, well, I'm gonna take that title too. I like it.
Because technically, you know, as we're talking about all of that, like Blackbeard's dream and Luffy's dream, they are not the same.
At all.
So Blackbeard, he's after the rubbings, but does he really need to go to Laugh Tale? I don't know. I mean, I would
feel like Blackbeard is power, right? It's power, influence. How can I get on top? And I think for him, it could be like it could be a way where it's like, okay, the Pirate King could be a way to get there. And it's like seemingly that could be a way to achieve power. But it might be a situation where he finds out, it's like, all right, this is not going to get me to my goal. Or it's like Pirate King or King of the World. It's like, I'm going to be the king of the world. So I don't think Blackbeard necessarily has to go to Laugh Tale. But it seems like something that's Oda's been setting up for a while because of him going after the poneglyphs. But then it's like, we have the questions about like, okay, how does he read the poneglyphs? You know, how does that happen? But now he has Pudding. And how does Pudding, you know, like, I know there've been like theories about like Pudding getting, you know, saved and Katakuri being involved.
So, well,
et cetera.
sidebar, because I know you're a cat stan.
I'm a cat stan.
How you feel about your boy just posted up, just letting his sister just you know be out in these seas, man? He's not trying to go and get her.
As a captain, you got to make decisions, right? You got to make decisions, and I think it's a situation like, all right, we don't know if our mom is alive. I'm the captain now.
Or do they?
Maybe.
I don't know. I mean,
maybe. Because I mean, I 1000% believe Big Mom is going to be in Elbaf.
Yeah, I want that as well. I feel like that. I feel like that needs to happen.
I used to think that both Big Mom and Kaido were still alive. Now I think it's just Big Mom is still alive.
That's how I've always felt.
I think that in that lava, Big Mom looked at Kaido and was like, I want my favor back. Remember when I saved your life? Now it's your time. Now it's your turn to save my life. And so Big Mom used Kaido's life to save hers. And now she ends back up in Elbaf. Because I think for Kaido, how he died is completely opposite to how he wanted to go out. And so it's just like, hey, Kaido, you didn't have the death you wanted, but it's just like, that's what happens to One Piece villains. Big Mom, you know, I saved your life, Kaido. This is my favor I'm taking back. We go to Elbaf, and now we get the completion of the Big Mom story arc because it still feels incomplete.
I agree.
I feel like in some way I would like Pudding to be in Elbaf, but I don't know how that happens.
Yep.
I don't know how it happens.
Because then you have Blackbeard and Elbaf at that point.
You see what I'm saying?
But that actually might be okay if everything in Elbaf ends on an L. So it's like whatever Blackbeard wants, he achieves in Elbaf. Straw Hats take an L, and then you know they catch their W later. I've always wanted Pudding and Big Mom to like hash everything out. And Elbaf feels like the right place. It's like the memo fruit.
Started, it feels like
the memo fruit feels incomplete. And it feels like it was something that I've always thought it was devised to give Big Mom her memories back. So it's like those suppressed memories of, yeah, you ate those kids. Yeah, you ate her. Like, that.
Something as well. Her, like, because she rampages all the time. And it seems like she loses her mind and doesn't remember things when she rampages. You know,
maybe
with the
there's something else that
fruit,
we haven't seen. Something,
right?
Did she
We haven't
rampage at
seen.
God Valley? You know, like what?
Right. And so like the memories flood back, and like we could see a completely different Big Mom once that happens. But like, you know, I agree that like she definitely should be in that battle. My bad. What were you gonna say?
No, I mean that's that. I want Pudding and Big Mom, and then like I'll feel like everything is wrapped up in a bow there. But it's, you know, this whole time I was team like Cat's.
Category go save Pudding.
He's gonna go save Pudding. He's gonna be there. Maybe he's at Elbaf. All this, and this man's just sitting there watching TV.
Yo, I saw it. I was hyped to see my guy, right? And I was just like, bro, because it's so much uncertainty with Whole Cake Island. Because I'm like, okay, do you know where Big Mom is? If you don't know where Big Mom is, are you looking for Big Mom? Have you sent someone out to look for her? Because, you know, we got the boys like Tamago and Peckhams. They travel.
I think they left with her.
You know?
I think they left with her. I think she's still recovering. Emil in the chat, like I still rock with what he said a long time ago, which is Pudding wrung out all the lava.
Okay. Smoothie.
Smoothie, sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
Smoothie wrung out all the lava.
Okay.
So she's,
I mean, I'm not mad at that. Be the only useful thing Smoothie has done. So I would really like that to be the case.
Facts.
But I don't know, because there's some people that still think Kaido is alive.
Nah.
And for those people, I would say, like, I don't think
his arc's complete.
They feel like Kaido. Some people feel like Kaido is incomplete. I'm like, everything that you feel about Kaido that is incomplete, all that can be completed even after he's dead, because it goes back to things that's happened in the past.
Yeah, the only thing that's incomplete is the God Valley flashback.
The God Valley stuff.
That's just Oda didn't want to show us that in the present.
And that
he is complete.
Yeah. And that's not Kaido's story, the God Valley thing. He's like a part of that story. So it's just like all that can be incorporated once we see God Valley, and I think we'll feel better about Kaido. But I don't think Kaido has to be alive. Like, I really don't. Like, I think everything he had to accomplish, everything he had to do, I think is done. And having somebody like Kaido, like, based on the type of person he is, like, he doesn't just automatically turn into a pacifist. And he's like, yo, I just want to, you know, exist. Like, that doesn't happen. So I think I'm good on Kaido being dead. What I would like, though, because we're in the Yamato pilgrimage, I would like for Yamato to find out more about Kaido and like her lineage, because there were some things that Kaido said in Wano that kind of implied that Yamato was really ignorant as to like some of his decisions, and she's like, she doesn't know much. So her going through and figuring that out is something I would like. And then also something that was set up, and I thought of you when this happened, was when they were, you know, throwing the rocks at her, right? Because that's Kaido's daughter. And I was like, savage. I like that, because that is the natural reaction to Kaido's kid walking around in Wano. And some people like in the chat was like, yeah, no, they're doing too much. That's Yamato. She helped save them. I'm like, sure. But like, you got to think about the decades of them being under Kaido's thumb.
Right.
A lot of people don't just get over that.
Sins of the father. It always carries.
It carries, right? But then after seeing that happen to Yamato, naturally thought about Tama. Mm-hmm. Right? And I'm like,
Kurozumi.
Okay.
You throw rocks at her too?
Right? Like what happens here? Mm-hmm. Do we get moments of Tama being in some situations where it's just like some people find out she's a Kurozumi, and then but it gives me hope that Oda's gonna explore some of these things just based off of like, oh, that's kind of no.
I mean, but that's where you need Momo to like step in and be like, nah, this is done. All of that, we're deading all of this, all of this trauma that's been happening over the last few years. This is ordinance from the Shogun. First, shout out to the 500, almost 500 people in here. Like the stream, guys.
Like the stream.
The one thing that I'm interested in seeing, because it's like going back to the Blackbeard of it all, like we really don't know where this dude's about to show up, and with Augur he can show up anywhere. So it's like And now with Caribou on his way to tell, the Commodore everything that needs to be said about the ancient weapons, I feel like now that we also know all of the devil fruits in his crew, they are all primed for Blackbeard to get Pluton. Because all he needs is Pizarro. If
Yes.
Augur and Pizarro go to Wano, Pizarro fuses with Wano, and then he's able to know exactly where Pluton is and unearths that. Or this could be how, if Big Mom hasn't been saved yet, that could be a way for like her to get out of there. Like
to get out of there.
He's moving Wano or whatever, and then like it expels Kaido and Big Mom, and
I think this cover story is there for a reason, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's just going to be a random throwaway. It's like how we saw the last cover story where like Oda seamlessly, I think that's one of the most masterful things we've seen in One Piece in the recent memory. It doesn't get talked about enough how the cover story intertwined with the actual story going on.
That was
like,
crazy. It's like you're seeing the cover story, and then in the same chapter or the next chapter, it's like, oh,
you see
we're playing.
On this
yeah.
Bro, that was incredible, right? And I think Oda's kind of doing the same thing here, where whatever's at the end of Yamato's pilgrimage is gonna intertwine with the main story. So
right. So
I can't wait for that.
And that's what I feel might happen, where it's Yamato like up against the Blackbeard pirates, trying to stop the borders from getting open because it's not time yet. But the borders open.
And also Yamato made that decision herself to say, I'm staying back because they're not ready to protect Wano.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then my thing was like, you're strong, Yamato. But for the people that could come for Wano, can you stop those people at the end of the day? And so it's just like, it comes down to it where it's like, Blackbeard comes for Pluton. I'm sorry, Yamato, you're not stopping Blackbeard.
No.
And also, I think I would like some doubt in Yamato just because of the Odin thing. And like, do we see her break out of that? Is there some realization where after we see the kids stone her, she's like, damn, like, they look at me as Kaido, so they're not looking at me like Odin? Do we have some self-reflection? Is there some growth for her character where it's like some realization that maybe I should carve my own path? Like, I don't know. Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, I always thought that might be like a character arc that Yamato could go on. Was that like Luffy could inspire Yamato to like just want to be themselves, rather than being someone else. But then, we see this idea now with, going back to the Bonnie discussion, I want to be Nika. Bonnie becomes Nika. And so it's like, maybe that's not the direction that Oda wants to go, and that he may just double down on the Odin thing. I mean, like, not that.
Yeah, it could go either way. It really could go either way. I would like for her at some point, Yamato just like, I'm Yamato. I look up to Odin. Odin's my hero, but acknowledging who she is at the end of the day, because no matter what, these people are never going to see you as Odin.
Or this idea came in head, talking about people becoming Nika, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if she,
Inspires
what if they switch their tone, and no longer does Yamato want to be Odin, Yamato wants to be Luffy, and then Yamato goes Nika,
Oh my god. I mean, Yamato isn't that Yamato going Nika.
I mean, they already have deity flames, all this other stuff.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, she already has the aesthetic a little bit. But I'd say this, right? If Yamato goes from wanting to be Odin, and then now she wants to be Luffy, I think most people would say mental illness, okay? And I would hope that Yamato doesn't get to that point where she just goes around just cosplaying as everybody else.
Exactly.
Because
I'm with you there. It's,
you know, that's one of the reasons why I was excited for her to join the crew, just because it would be so many opportunities for her to like learn more about herself as she's learning more about the world. Yeah. Where it's just like, oh, what's that? What is this? Like, oh, I actually like this. I don't like this. So I think that was the more interesting thing, because she was like a blank canvas if she left Wano, right? Because she's just, oh, I want to be Odin.
It was Carrot 2.0.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now Yamato is a plot device. So it's just Yamato is still on Wano to be there, in my opinion, to prevent whoever, whether it's, you know, Crocodile or more likely Blackbeard, showing up to get Pluton. And then the next time, you know, then there's different things that could happen with that. Blackbeard asks Yamato to join his crew. Blackbeard kidnaps Yamato. Yamato finally leaves Wano, finds Luffy, and then downloads him on the information of, like, this is what happened in Wano. And it's like, I mean, you got your flag flying there, bro. Like, this is what's going on.
We need help.
And at the same time, what did Luffy say? If you need help or whatever, let me know. If he finds out, then we might get returned to Wano. There's so many like different things that could that could play from this, but you know, that also interrupts Elbaf potentially.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's we're at the place now where, you know, I liked when we got to Egghead. It seemed like we're going to Elbaf, but there are also a lot of moving parts happening behind the scenes with all these characters that we know and love. And so it's just something that's also open-ended is Law, right? Like, we saw Beppo, one of the recent chapters. He's like, yo, Captain. So it's just like, where's Law? And then I know, you know, he's not anybody's favorite at this point. In the anime next week, things will be happening. Eustass, right? And, you know, shout out to the anime.
Keep that man in the water.
Shout out to the anime, man, because if you don't know, right, you're thinking it's about to be a slugfest, man. You're thinking it's about to be crew versus crew. He's about to have Shanks on the ropes.
Pay-per-view.
Like, it looks like
get
it's
everybody
about
over,
to be
make the popcorn.
A showdown, right?
Fire
That's
up
what
the
it looks
grill.
like. Even in the preview, they got Shanks looking scared in the preview.
Oh,
and if you
I
have
didn't see
no
it
idea,
yet. That's wild. That's wild.
He looks scared. Like, Shanks is like, what is happening?
That's definitely the moment where it looks like Shanks is gonna hit like one of his, like the puddle pirates or whatever.
Bro, it's one of those where it's like the anime is doing a fantastic job, but I don't think Kid is dead. You know, Kid's not dead. Where is he? How does he play into everything that's going on now?
See, but that's the thing, though, is like, just like we're talking about Kaido, like his role is done. I really truly feel Kid's role is done. Like, I don't think that Kid has anything else left to help the story. He's not going to become the Pirate King.
I agree with that.
He's not going to go to Laugh Tale. So it's just like, what is he going to do? Like, he's literally just going to be a cameo in Elbaf. He's just going to exist. Like,
is he like Shiki though? Like, because remember after Shiki, after he lost to Roger, he kind of became almost desperate. And after Roger died, attacking Marineford, getting arrested, and then he went to Whitebeard like, hey man, it's now your time.
The only thing I could see for Kid is like, if we're in Elbaf and it is a battle royale, it's Ragnarok. We've got a bunch of different groups there. Like, Kid,
he's just one of the guys.
He's one of the guys that's like, he has to have like a mental shift where it's like, okay, you know what? I'm not that guy anymore. I don't have the poneglyphs, you know. And then it's like an extreme version of, you know, the Bellamy situation where he's just like, fine, I'm gonna ride for Straw Hat and I'm gonna take out some of these guys that are attacking his crew. And it's like, but I don't even want that. That's why that'd
be horrendous.
Exactly. But it's like
Oh God.
that's almost the only thing that's left for him. So just keep him underwater. The you know what would be fun for me, like, is if Killer is there, right? Or we meet someone that doesn't have their mask on and we find out that's Killer, right, in Elbath, and Kid's dead, and it's Killer trying to process that and figure out what he's gonna do to keep Kid's legacy, like, you know. And it's like, that's character for me. That's something different. It's something we haven't seen, like a right hand have to pick up after your captain is killed, you know, other than Brook. But I also don't think Yorkie's dead, and I think Yorkie's the man marked by flames. But
Or Marco. In a way.
you think the Marco for man marked by flames?
I'm talking about, like, as far as picking up after your captain dies.
Okay, all right. You know what? Actually, yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
But I think, like, Kid dying there, I can see people making arguments as, like, him being a horrendous character if that's his death. And, you know, it's just,
I don't
what was
see
his purpose. I agree with you. I don't see any more room in the story for him, because for me, I was like, okay, when initially I saw he was going after Shanks, I was like, okay, Oda doesn't make him lose twice, right? Because at the end of the day, there's nothing left. Like, you lost to Shanks twice. You can't beat Luffy. You're not as saucy as Law. Like, bro, like,
you're not as high in the popularity poll either, bro.
What do we do with you? But it's like, him dying here, it's like he'd be just bad.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing, is like, Oda said that he had a plan for Kid. That really didn't manifest into anything. But if his plan was, this character is being built up as someone better than Luffy, so I can use him as a hype tool for Shanks or someone else, then I get it. Like, it's not effective for people that like Kid or whatever, but right. Like, this isn't Kid's story. Kid isn't going to play in the Endgame. He doesn't have a role in the final saga, in my opinion. Shanks does. So it's just, we haven't seen Shanks do anything. So we just spent an entire, like, 5 years with Kid where he still wasn't really doing anything until, like, the last, you know, little bit. But it's like, there's enough for it to be like, okay, this guy is making a name. He's got some poneglyphs. He could be a threat. He has a high bounty or whatever, and then he gets one-shotted by Shanks. Like, that actually is okay with me. I'm okay with that, because this character doesn't have anything else to do. If he gets, he's basically just being shoehorned for no reason at this point. If he comes back, Oda's got to, like, really work.
No, I agree. That's the crazy part, is that, like, you're right, but it just feels so,
I know,
lackluster.
I know.
For a character like that, I don't want to say that hype he had, but just him being a part of the worst generation, one of the top dogs. And, you know, I mean, he did say he was betting his life, right? Like, he's like, you know, Killer was like, you know, like, next time you could die, bro. Like,
yeah.
He's like, yeah, that's only if I lose, right? And
but so, we're gonna get Law. We're gonna get Law. Like, and the other thing too is that's crazy with Law is, like, Law doesn't want the One Piece, so he also doesn't really have that big of a role in the final saga, which is why, you know, I had the Laws and Sword theory, because I'm like, bro, you don't want to find the One Piece, so what's the point of you? It's Oda just, like, putting you into the story because you were that high on the popularity poll, which is why it's still a possibility that he sides with the Marines via Sengoku, whether he was in Sword this whole time or just, you know, sides with them now, because after the Beppo scene where he's swimming away with Law, if you're reading the volume, you turn the page, the next page is Sengoku. So it's like, it's Oda trying to, like, show that these two characters are still tied.
Sengoku and Tsuru, they were on their way somewhere,
right, to Empty Bluffs,
right?
They said they were they were talking about two things: Garp and the Cross Guild. I think they're tied to something with the Cross Guild, and there's also the possibility. There's also the possibility that now that Blackbeard knows that Devon has the Gorosei, right?
Mm-hmm.
He may not think he needs Garp anymore. So then we double down on this idea of what's been presented with the Cross Guild. Blackbeard gives Garp to the Cross Guild for the bounty. So
okay.
So then Sengoku and Tsuru go and try and deal with the Cross Guild. Law, being a former warlord and someone who seemed very interested in Buggy in 1056 or whatever, thinking that he was like capable, may side with the Cross Guild.
Former warlord.
Or Moria is a definite, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Perona and Moria, like they're joining the Cross Guild.
Does Moria negotiate that possible exchange between Cross Guild and Blackbeard? Because Moria he's still a Blackbeard, right? So
we don't know that. The last thing we saw was Perona trying to break Moria out. So my thinking is that she found a ship and she had headed to Empty Bluffs because she just spent 2 years with Mihawk. And it's just like, okay, he'll protect us.
Okay.
So, and then you get the panel from Chapter 0 where they're all at, minus Dofi, who probably still has to factor into that somehow.
Is Cross Guild just going to be former warlords?
Yeah.
Collabing?
Oh, for sure.
Just all the former warlords? Like breaking out Dofi, breaking out Weevil.
Yeah. And that also opens an opportunity for Law to end up somehow in Impel Down. Like, I'm okay with that. Like, if he's actually a pirate and he gets captured, he goes to Impel Down. He could be our main character for that. And then Dofi plays the role of Crocodile. Law is the Luffy during the breakout. You have Marco, like trying to get Weevil. Maybe there's maybe the Grand Fleet's involved or something. You start getting, like Gladius and Senor Pink, they start playing, like the Buggy Mr. 3 roles and everything, and we have Impel Down 2.0.
Listen, Cross Guild literally has an opportunity, if they add some of these characters, to be one of the more entertaining, diabolical groups.
I'm all in. My stocks are on Cross Guild.
Like, if we get Dovi, right? Moria.
We're going to have to update the poster.
Because listen. Remember the last time Dofi and Moria interacted? It was like... the last time they interacted, he's like, yo, why are you doing this? Like, it's like, yo, man, higher up, Right. So, like, we could have so many dope moments if they actually bring back or, like, give us Cross Guild of just the former warlords, Law, working with them, in some way. I don't know, Boa makes her way there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because, I mean, at that point, they can hang with anybody.
Yep. And
they can really hang with anybody.
That's how you full circle the story.
Wait.
That's how you full circle the story. That's how you feel like at the end you earned the ending.
Dofi and Law again?
I'm trying to tell you, man. I'm trying to tell you. This is what it feels like. I got my stocks here, bro.
You sure Dofi won't just kill? Dofi can't kill Law right now. That's not happening. That's not how. That would be insane, though.
Nah, because see, here's the thing: is Croc's got the plan, bro. Croc's got the plan. If he lays the plan out, and everybody's just like, okay, because he's the emperor now. Buggy is the figurehead or whatever. But I mean, Croc's running things.
Yeah, because Mihawk doesn't really care about that, so he's just like, yo, where do we have to go? And Crocodile is the one that's kind of like, and then, one of my hopes is that even towards the end of the story, that Crocodile and S Flamingo, they meet, and then they just decide to work together. Diabolical villains, and then they end up being like the main antagonist for Two Piece, just because of how diabolical they would be together. But I don't know. I really like that idea of Cross Guild. I'm liking that a lot. I think you've converted me. That's an insane cast of characters.
Mm-hmm. And you have all of those people at Laugh Tale, bro. Like that feels worth it. That feels earned. That's Marineford level. That's where it's like you've built everything, this entire story with all these characters, and then now they're all here together.
But think about it as well, like the people that were there at Roger's execution.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's literally a panel in chapter 0 where it's Buggy, Croc, Mihawk, Dofi, and Moria all in a line.
Yeah.
Looking at Roger's execution. And it's like, I'm looking at that like, oh, this is the Cross Guild.
So then they see Roger's execution and they see like somebody else basically inheriting his will in front of them. So Luffy becomes a Pirate King.
Mm-hmm. And then maybe Oda even replicates that shot. And it's like, it's Luffy like actually the Pirate King now. And they're all seeing that. I don't know.
I like it.
I'm in.
I like it. So then at that point we get that point, and then like I think I'm now on board with Zoro fighting Mihawk and Laughdale now. I think that makes the most sense. I think that makes that's it.
It's thematic.
Anywhere else it doesn't really fit, right? Like even because it can't be the final war, because Mihawk would be like, well, we just, you know, like this is a war, like let's wait, you know. So I like that. I definitely like that.
But it's like there's opportunities for two final war. You know, it's like Elbaf could have Ragnarok, whatever that brings about. Like if there's other factions that get involved there, we could have this like pirate final war where it's pirates going after each other, which could also be Laughdale, you know. And then it's like there's the final war against the government and the Marines. So it's like we have an opportunity here to have two if Oda wants to do it.
And then we have like this thing that's creeping up too, where the world government, how long is everything together? How long can they hold this together with all the information that's out there?
Right.
There's already tension between Akainu and the Gorosei and the
Who's going to turn?
Who's going to turn? Who's going to walk out?
Because obviously it's like, I mean, you know, Kobe, Smoker, Fuji, like they're not going to rock with this. Especially when more comes out.
Yeah, because I think more is to come. Clearly, there's going to be more information coming out very soon. So it's like, I don't know. It's like, who leads the charge with this? Because I mean, Akainu definitely doesn't like the Celestial Dragons. He doesn't like the Gorosei. But it's like, is he going to say we're officially parting ways and separating from these guys?
I don't know, because that almost makes him sympathetic. And I personally would be upset if Oda tries to redeem Akainu. I think some people got to stay evil. And it's not going to feel like subversion or smart if it's like, okay, well, now we have to work with Akainu too. You know, I think
Akainu's evil?
I mean, dude burnt an entire ship of like women and children, bro. I'm sorry. Irredeemable. He could have said no. He could have.
But you gotta be thorough, though, right?
I mean, he's extra thorough. That's too thorough.
I mean, he wasn't wrong. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
You know, like the theory was correct. Like, what if somebody gets away that can read the poneglyphs? And you know, there go Robin.
Yeah.
Because I understand, right? Where it's like, it's funny because I think Akainu, Sengoku's just like Akainu with just good PR. But I don't think people look at Sengoku as evil. You know, that's how I look at it, bro. Do you think Sengoku's evil?
I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man.
Nah. But I mean, I also never saw Sengoku like destroy an entire ship of women and children. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, unless we get a flashback and we see Sengoku doing some like just some foul. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's like something that rubbed me the wrong way in Egghead a little bit was, and I'm glad that it like switched back, was Lucci, Kaku, Luffy, and Zoro working together. Like, that was the cool part of Impel Down, was like everybody like reluctantly having to work together.
Mm-hmm.
For me, Luffy, Zoro, Lucci, and Kaku felt like Luffy versus Zoro and Whiskey Peak. It was like, all right, we're just doing this to, this is just hype. And I'm glad that Lucci like solidified himself. Like, nah, I'm actually like over here for real.
Mm-hmm.
Kaku, I don't mind Kaku, because Kaku was always set up as like,
he's always shaky.
Right. So I'm like, okay,
he was a
cool,
likable guy. You
right.
know?
At the end of the story, go get your farm with Stussy. Like, go live your life, bro. But Lucci, like, I'm glad that he's staying irredeemable, because this dude's whole concept was just like, hey, I'm here because I
get to kill people.
Right.
I use you guys to kill people.
Right. That's that. And it's like, I put Akainu and Lucci like on the same plane. And it's just like, you need villains in the story that are just villains. Because otherwise, if everybody's shaky, then, and it's like, One Piece is really about like muddying the waters and trying to like
nuance.
Nuance, exactly. I mean, we're having this conversation where, you're making, wild arguments about Akainu, but it's like, they're not completely off base, because I mean, that's what Oda wants us to kind of like have the conversation about. But I don't want to see a situation where it's like, it's Luffy and Akainu standing side by side to fight someone. Like, that would feel wrong to me after what happened to Ace. I don't feel like, oh wow, this is a crazy development in the story. I'm like, nah, I don't want that.
I don't think they fight side by side at all. But I think when I think about people like Akainu and villains in the story, I always think about what Kid said, where he was like, if you think I'm evil, think about, or basically I'm nothing compared to what the Celestial Dragons are in regards to how evil they are. So I think no matter what, as evil as Akainu is, it's never going to compare to like what the Celestial Dragons and the Gorosei are. And just like, for instance, Akainu took out the ship, right, of women and children and possible scholars. Gorosei, they just took out a country.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they literally have like slaves currently working underground, right? And they've had their like thumb on the world for like all this time. So it's just like, I think for Akainu, you understand like what he's supposed to be, right? But then it's just like, yeah, but those guys, they're way worse. And so I don't want Akainu to be redeemed though. But it's
exactly.
Yeah, I don't want him to be redeemed per se, but it's like I don't.
But there's a clear difference.
Akainu's done. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, when I look at everything Akainu's done, it's like I don't look at him as evil per se. I look at him as like the extreme of the other side.
Okay. See, but I see a clear difference between Akainu and Sengoku, because it's like,
Tell me.
Sengoku was, I mean, I feel like he was trying to fix things. Like, he feels like the guy that's just like, okay, I know things are messed up, but I'm the only guy that can go in here and try and keep it level. And, he's having those conversations with Corazon. He's telling Garp, pushing him in the ground, like, hey, don't mess things up. Like, let's be easy here. Akainu, he just stares out the window and he's just like, man, I'm mad. But he's not like doing anything about it. He's not sitting there like saying like, okay, I hate the Celestial Dragons, but here's why I hate them. Like, I hate them.
I think that will come. I think that's in time. Because even with like his history, how much he hates pirates, I think it's gonna be revealed eventually. But I think for like Sengoku, how I look at him, I think he's a traitor. For instance, like who do you think he found out about Ace from?
So you're saying You're saying that he sold Garp out? I mean, that's a take.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, when you put it that, I mean, like he,
know.
like he had the information. It's just like, yeah, so Porcus D. Rouge was in Batarilla in the South Blue, and like,
I don't know. I don't know. That's kind of messed up, because maybe Garp confided in him like, hey, da 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 da. Oh, by the way, everyone, this kid is Roger's son.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have to even say that.
He's gonna die anyway.
Yeah. Unless he was trying to, build some tax for himself, but
I don't know.
Yeah.
I know people like saying Goku because of his connection to Corazon and like how he goes about
I gotta
things,
sit with that a little bit. I gotta sit with that.
Because I mean, like even with the whole thing set up with Scored, saying Goku's plan. But even then, it's just like I'm not saying Akaino's a good guy. I don't think he's a good guy, but like, he gets the job done, which I respect. But I feel like the Marines or government in general, it's just been so much incompetence. You respect somebody that actually tries to get the job done. And then something that doesn't get talked about, right? That I want to put out there. I've said this before, that when Akainu killed the Marines that were leaving the battlefield, right? He was basically doing them a favor. Because if you desert the battlefield, right? You don't get, it's a dishonorable discharge, right? He's like, if you at least die in battle, your families, they get to retire, they get some of the benefits of you just dying in battle. So just something to think about, like there's some good in there if you dig deep enough.
I'm not gonna co-sign that. That's agenda. That's agenda right there, bro.
Hey man, that's what he said. He's like, hey, that's what he said, bro. That's what he said. People overlook it because he's just killing people and stuff. That's what he said.
Bro, that's the most propaganda take I've heard in a while.
I'm just saying, man. Their families, they got set up for the future,
But
killed in action.
Speaking of that, that reminds me of the squad thing, and I wanted to bring this up earlier, but I forgot because you were talking about Leo, going back to the belief talk and everything with like Leo, believing that Luffy might do something. I think it was the last stream, and I'm sorry, I don't remember who brought it up, but someone in the chat said, what if in the final war, Leo is the squad for Luffy?
Oh shit! What?
And I liked it. I was like, is that what Oda's setting up here? Like, because even in the Reverie, Leo was drinking the Kool-Aid, and then had to be checked. But if there's no one around to check him, and Akainu like does something again, like he did with Squard, and Leo just like stabs Luffy or something, and we get a reprise of that. That might, there's some story there.
I think Squard was an idiot.
Absolutely. So is Leo.
Right? Leo is an idiot as well.
I love Leo though. It would be a, it's something.
I think the thing is just like, what would you tell Leo? I guess Leo starts believing or drinking the Kool-Aid of everything that they're saying about Luffy, and he's just like, I have to stop this person who I thought was a good guy. I would hate that. I love Leo, and if Leo becomes that, it would kill me. But then also,
but you have to change it somehow. So it's like maybe he doesn't stab Luffy, but
to be honest, Randy, what is Leo doing to Luffy?
Exactly, but it's like he would have to do something else that like trips them up in some way. You know,
Leo could like sew Luffy's eyes together. Like he could, I don't know what the hell Leo could do to Luffy to actually hurt him. Like I don't think, like if Luffy just laid there for like an hour, I don't think Leo could even hurt Luffy, to be honest. Could he? Like he just laid there, just didn't try to protect himself or anything. Could he actually hurt Luffy?
right?
I don't know.
But I mean,
I don't know.
But the question also is like, does Squard actually hurt Whitebeard? Like, I mean, he stabbed him, but that man.
Only thing
walked that
Whitebeard,
off.
you kind of felt like he was in a degenerative state.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he clearly let that happen. And it's just, I can see like the betrayal coming in that way, but it's just, I can see them trying to do that. But because of Leo's belief, it goes the wrong way and it backfires.
So, okay, so there we go. Actually,
yeah,
building on that, I like that better. If they do try to squard Leo, but now he has finally beaten the gullibleness of all the Tentata and stands up for Luffy. That's how you
some character. That's some development for his character.
That's how you do it.
I like that.
I like that better.
I like that. And I do think Oda did strategically, and then, you know, some of it is kind of retroactively place doubt even in some of the readers' minds in Whitebeard, because I started to look at Whitebeard, you know, like I know like ultimately Whitebeard is one of the GOATs, right? But there's some things there that I don't, you know, that aren't, I don't think he handled it the best way, right? I don't think Ace was handled great. I don't think Squad was handled great. I don't think everything with Wano was handled great. Everything with Blackbeard, I don't think that was handled great. So there's doubt there for me in Whitebeard, and I can understand why Squad would feel the way that he felt, because I think that Whitebeard was full of shit. He definitely was preparing Ace to be the next Pirate King. Like anybody could see that. And so I think even after Ace left,
whatever Roger and Rayleigh and Shanks and everybody knew from Laughtail, and whatever Roger told Whitebeard, like when he met Ace, like he saw that, whether it's like, hey, coming soon, 20 years, whatever, it's going to be my son or whatever, he's going to be the next Joy Boy. Like definitely Whitebeard knew stuff. He probably even learned stuff at God Valley. He probably learned stuff from Rocks.
He knew, yeah, whatever. He knew somebody was coming.
And it's just like, okay, it's you. But then in the middle of Marineford, he meets Luffy, and he's just like, it's you. Marco, don't let this boy die.
Yeah. He realized that Luffy was a candidate, at least.
Yeah.
At worst. He realized, okay, this kid is special as well. I don't know. I think for Whitebeard, after the Roger conversation, I think that's where he got even more complacent, where it was like, not complacent, but it was just like, okay, I made the correct decision by choosing family.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, things are going to happen that I can't control anyway. So let me just maintain, which goes back to him like, yeah, I don't want to go to Wano. Yeah, I don't want to have this fight here. I don't want to do this. Let's not go after Blackbeard. He was maintaining, you know? And so I don't think it necessarily presents like flaws in his character. It kind of makes him a better character because he is flawed.
If he is told about events, you know, if he's told about a prophecy or whatever, then suddenly his entire character is just like, okay, well, I have to bide my time. I have to get to that point. I have to make sure that my family is ready for what's coming. We can't go to Wano because I might lose some of you, and I need you for this other thing. And I can sacrifice one dude for all of you. But I can't sacrifice Ace because he's actually that dude. He might
be that dude. Yeah. But then you can't explain your crew. You can't explain that to your crew.
Nah.
How do you tell them, like, okay, guys?
Okay, so 800
you're
years
all my
ago,
sons.
They said, you know, like,
I love you all equally.
This guy told me that this stuff is going to happen, and I believe him.
This one is a little bit more special, and we got to go save him, you know? I don't know. It's tough. It's tough with Whitebeard, but I mean, he's one of the GOATs, man. He's one of the GOATs for sure. But that goes back to the nuance and the doubt that Oda creates in the story. And if you believe, you know, you can kind of overcome a lot of these things. So I think it goes well with it. Chat talk about Leo and the Willow scored.
Right. And
Nah, that was stressing me out. That was stressing me out because I love Leo. I love the Grand Fleet in general. You know, I just like how they came together. So I think that was great.
Let's see here.
I think the cameras went out.
Yeah, I got it back.
Okay.
I got it back.
Okay, that.
I did that because I was pulling up the chats. I wanted to get into some of into these supers.
The super chats.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Jolly D Joe Star supered and said Savage and Assemble. Was that at the beginning?
Assemble.
That is legitimately the next super chat from Ocelot 231K. Just and like with
yep.
50 E's.
That's DC. They know the vibes. They know the vibes. It was had it.
Exactly. So then we got Red Hood 52.5. He said this feels like Croco meeting with Dofi for the backdoor deals. The underworld.
I mean, bro, like Crocodile. They feel like two peas in a pod. It feels like two people that probably shouldn't be working together, considering just how their minds work and that they would accomplish some very major things. And so they were, you know, intentionally kind of kept apart a little bit and teased. So them working together now, I don't know, man. Crossgill, the hype is there. The hype is there.
The hype is there. The hype is real, bro. I'm ready. I'm here. I'm all in. I said it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Knack D, two goats here today. Like the stream, sub to Randy and B.D.A.
You love to see it. You love to see it. Like the stream, subscribe, do all that.
Yep.
Let's get it.
Brandon King, favorite volume covers. He said 41, 58, 66, 89, and 106 are his. For me, I know that my number one favorite is 14.
One Piece volume covers.
But I'd have to remember all of the numbers and all of the covers and everything like that. Like I don't have them off rip except for my number one favorite. And that's the Little Garden one where it looks like it's a 70s movie poster with Luffy, Vivi, and Mr. 3.
Yeah, I'm looking at them now. I would say my favorite. Okay, Davy Back is up there for me.
Oh yeah, I do love that one. That one's great. Yep. Afro Luffy.
The Davy Back one is up there for me.
Foxy side by side.
Volume 40, Enies Lobby is great.
Is that the one with Robin?
That's the one with Luffy using Gear Second and Bluno in the back.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, Volume 41 is young Robin and Saul and Olvia. I think it might be 44. That's the one with Nico Robin, Lucci.
Back, like she's got the back and she's like looking back. Yeah. That one. Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
That when you were saying it before, I was like, oh, it's got to be that one. Like that one.
That one. Yeah, that Volume 44, man. Volume 44 is insane. Volume 44.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm looking at. And of course you can't. I mean, Volume 57 with Whitebeard and Luffy running at Marineford.
The two covers that make up the Alabasta poster for me. Is that like 19 and 20 or something?
Volume 58 is insane. It is 3 admirals, Garp and Sengoku and Luffy in the middle.
I like the one in Dressrosa where it's got all of the Coliseum contestants. It's got like Bellamy on there and Cavendish, and like that one's a fun one.
Oh yeah, the Dressrosa one with they got oh yeah, I see that one. Yeah, I like that one. Then they got one with Dofi as well. Yeah, I mean the volume cover is actually amazing. Looking back at them again. The volume 79, that's the basically the end of Dressrosa with Akainu and Fujitora, and Doflamingo in the back, and Luffy using Gear 4th. That's actually a pretty beautiful one. Just a contrast there. I think that one's dope.
Oh, the one there's 2 Zoe covers that I really like. I like the one where it's got Sanji in the orange
In the orange jacket. Yeah.
That one's great, and I also love the one where it's Luffy running with the bag with Pedro and Carrot, and then you got Vivi up in the corner.
And Vivi, I know. I'm gonna say Vivi, of course. Vivi being in there, you like that one.
Yeah.
Of course, and of course, volume 89 for me. You know, yeah, I got Katakuri. Yeah, Katakuri in it, volume 89.
Oh, the Reverie cover. Reverie cover with everybody's face on it, and like the wheel.
Okay, yeah, did a wheel. Yep. The Luffy, Fifth Yonko. That's
the first Wano cover with
Luffy and Kid. Or no. That's
with everybody in their Wano
Tama?
outfits. Tama with the apple.
Yeah, the apple. Yeah,
that one's iconic.
Then we got the Onigashima one. Luffy with the coat, Law, Kid. Then you got the Tobiropo. That one's pretty fire.
Yeah.
And then of course 103, Luffy in Gear 5. Got Kaido, Kid, and Law. That one's pretty great. And 105 is Blackbeard, like all the Yonko. That one's dope. And then
oh yeah, that one 105 for sure.
Yeah. And then 108 with Kizaru and Luffy and Egghead. And then I know a lot of people are gonna
I like the colors
come to
on
love 109 with Kuma and Bonnie.
Oh,
Yeah. No, some of the volume covers are actually fucking amazing.
Some of my favorite
That's
stuff
some
in
dope
One
ones.
Piece, and a shout out to what started it all, the first one, and then the reprise with the New World where he redid it. Those are good.
Yeah. No, some dope volume covers. Like going back through them, it's just like nostalgia trip.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Let's see. Very motivated. Remember, for 38 months, said at the end of the day, you can't apply logic because Oda's going to do what he thinks is the coolest thing. Agreed.
Yeah, 1000%. I think it's a lot of times, you know, you have people that's read One Piece for a long time. You know, we get caught up in that. Sometimes it's like, you know what, I think I'd be better. That's be better for the story, and it's like, it's not our story, you know. And it's like certain things that we think is cool that Oda just doesn't. And you know, sometimes it's like it is what it is.
I thought another
like
volume cover I really like, which might be top 5 for me, is the Water 7 cover, where it's the Iceberg and Frankie looking off to the sides with Water 7 in the middle.
Yeah, I'm looking at that one right now.
Yeah, I love that one.
That one's clean. I mean, I think Iceberg is something that doesn't get talked about enough. Iceberg is just like the epitome of like class, you know. Like,
he's
he's
one of my favorite characters in the whole series. Like,
you know what I mean? Like, he's just one of those guys, man. I was reading some Water 7 recently, and it was like, yo, Iceberg.
I love how he's
he's kind of that guy.
He just sees Corgi. He's just like, oh, hi, Corgi. I'm not here today.
Right. He's just one of those guys, man. You just like Iceberg. I like Iceberg a lot.
Yeah. Underrated for sure. And I mean, like, you know, we've been seeing him a lot lately in his Gucci pajamas. I'm like,
especially considering like what's happening to the world. Very relevant.
And he was ahead. He was ahead of the curve. He's like, I'm gonna make this island float. He knew.
He felt it.
Spencer Super said, I think this is the same reason the dino fruits have so many weird extra powers. It's what they think dinos can do.
I like that. Yeah. I like that a lot because Sasaki, being able to fly with his neck, right? We can
turned into a triceracopter.
Like, yeah, it was like, and then the biggest example is Queen, right? Where Queen turned into like a lizard.
Yeah, that's not.
So
that's not a brontosaurus, bro.
Like that's not what that does. So you can do what you believe you can do. So it's just
Kaku.
Like
all of the things that he did as a giraffe.
Yeah.
Shrunk his neck in, all this kind of stuff. Like
It comes down to what you think you can do. Thing. You are your own worst enemy with your limitations. So that does make Devil Fruits more exciting, because then like whatever possibilities you can think with them, it's probably possible. You know, because we talk about Sabo with the blue flame, and then, you know, just like Kid and his magnetism, what he could possibly do. And it's just like, yeah, he possibly could do all those things if you believe he could. So,
and speaking of that, like going to that moment where it's, you know, Kainu saying that fire doesn't burn hotter than magma. It's like, did at that point Kainu create some doubt in Ace, which ended up like that's what killed him? Is in that moment he believed what he said. So if Sabo comes into that situation, it's just like, you're lying. I believe that it can.
Yeah, and then he overcomes the magma. That's the moment I do want, though. I definitely want that moment.
That like, moment's gonna happen.
Usually like a Red Hawk type attack, where, you know, you see some like an Ace flashback a little bit. Yeah, like a clash. I need that.
Cooper Y said, in all caps, yes, I've been saying for years, eating 2 devil fruits killing you is government propaganda. Vegapunk didn't mention it at all. Feels like he would.
I think after Blackbeard did it, clearly it can be done. Now for Blackbeard, we don't know his body, etc., and all the things behind that, but clearly it can be done. So we have to wait and see exactly why he was able to do it.
Yeah, how? But
it's possible. It's certainly possible. So,
Lydia Raven, under this presumption, why would the world government spread the message that you can't eat more than 1 fruit? And why could Blackbeard eat 2? I mean, it's got to come down to whatever devil fruits can do, and if it's a situation where eating more than 1 like amplifies the ability to access belief or something, then you know that'd be.
I mean, I think for the world government, like as much doubt as possible, segregation, limited thinking, is just like, we want to control you. We can control how you think. We can control you, and so everything.
If we suppress Nika completely, you don't even know the name. You don't know anything about it. You don't know about this person that was telling everybody that if you think it, you can do it. Then
the less you believe in Nika, you know, the less powerful technically Nika should be. So it's just like, you know, they understand just how the world works, and they're just trying to limit the scope of it and kind of control the Nika and the powers and the reach too.
It's Peter Pan, bro.
Yeah,
it's Peter Pan.
Yep.
Vasil Vlad Ivanovici Super said Luffy versus Kobe needs to be the new Naruto versus Sasuke.
I don't know.
I used to think years ago that would be like an Endgame fight. It would be like Luffy versus Kobe, but like at this point, they're gonna be like side by side.
Yeah. I think they're at this point kind of fighting for the same things. So
exactly. They're on 2 separate paths that are gonna end up at the same location. Yamil Diaz
temporarily.
Yeah. Yamil Diaz said Luffy will go from Pirate King to Party King. Talking about what he'll do at the end of the story. He'll just be moving like
partying
shakes.
Just partying it up.
You know.
It's just, but yeah, I agree with that. But I'm just talking about like the other Straw Hats. Like, do they want to be sailing after it's all said and done? You know, how long do they want to do that? You know, because they just.
I mean, it depends on what everybody's own view of freedom is in the first place. It's like this is the thing, because we have to shake this idea of what will they do when there's no one else to save, you know? Because it's like the other thing too is like Luffy didn't start this journey to be a hero. He just happened to fall into doing hero things, but it's always from the point of view of like, this person gave me food, I like this person, whatever, I'm gonna help you, and in the meantime, like, by, you know, tangentially, I'm also saving your kingdom, but that's not my goal. So it's like his goal is to just go and have fun with his friends. So until Luffy says, all right, we're disbanded, they just go from island to island partying.
I think it would be an interesting, I don't think Oda would ever do this, but I can see like another author kind of like doing like a like a spin-off. Like, because in Solo Leveling, I finished that recently. I'm not gonna spoil anybody, but like they did like a what if. It's almost like if they did a chapter where it's like, what if Luffy ate the Marimaro no Mi? Like a whole chapter going through like a what if.
That's kind of fun.
And I can see like an author like doing a what if like the Straw Hats are about to disband and Luffy doesn't want that, you know, where it's like, all right, Luffy, like, you know, we're like 30 now, you know, like I want to go do this, you know, like just that thought process would be fun to kind of explore. Just because it's just like, you know, at some point a journey has to end, you know. But for Luffy, it's like I would like to see Luffy at a different point in his life, and to see just what he does and how he grows, the things that he wants to do now, just based off of how he is as a character, and just how that growth would look like.
Shanks and Rayleigh vibes.
Yeah. Just so you think Luffy would be like, because Shanks is a bit different because you feel like Shanks was just buying time.
Right.
Rayleigh is just, he's retired, and he's another one that's like, all right, you know, fate is gonna do what fate does.
I can totally see him like,
you
know, whoever he boos up with or whatever, like he'll just go and disappear like Rayleigh does for 6 months and then come back and be like, hey, what's up, Shaggy?
Maybe.
You know,
maybe.
like that's, I don't know, Luffy gonna start coating ships. But like, another thing too is a lot of people,
hard to see it.
A lot of people think that Luffy's gonna die at the end.
Right.
So it's like, you know, maybe we're
that would be the easy way out.
That's the easy way
Luffy
out.
Dies.
I would actually prefer that he doesn't die, you know. But at the same time, it's like, okay, but what does he?
If he doesn't die, it's like, what does he do? Like, it's like everybody else is accounted for. What does Luffy do? That's actually a difficult question.
It is.
So I wouldn't trust Luffy to cope much. Hell no.
No, yeah. But that actually could be funny. Like, he's really bad at it.
No, that'd be dope. Like Luffy just taking on odd jobs. Like Luffy's like calling Zoro, I don't know what to do. He's like, I don't know what to tell you. He's like,
bro, you save the world and you can't do something like this. Just...
Zoro opening up a dojo and can't find his way back.
Yeah. Very Motivated said, Emu is for the Revolutionary Army and the world to defeat. Cross-Guild Grand Fleet is for the corrupted Marines. Blackbeard and Luffy and their competing ideologies will be the last. I like the idea of tying Cross-Guild to the corrupted Marines.
Okay. It feels limiting a bit.
Yeah.
And then it's somewhat, they feel too much like revolutionaries. It feels like they're noble, which isn't what they're trying to do, you know.
But then you do have Mihawk is the Marine hunter, apparently.
Right. So it could be like a thing where, like with Luffy, like that's not the goal, but that's what happens. We end up helping the revolutionaries in a way. So,
yeah.
Not too mad at that.
Maxo, member for 38 months, said Katakuri's chilling because they just wrapped up Pudding's funeral.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. No, I wouldn't be surprised if Cat does leave Whole Cake Island, but just, you know, I'm just happy Oda's like, yo, here's Katakuri. You know, I was like, it's one of those Dragon panels where Dragon doesn't really say anything or do anything. Just like, hey, here's Dragon. You haven't seen him in a while.
I'm just mad he showed he was at Whole Cake. Like, I would have preferred Cat with a blacked out background like Croc. Like, hey, he might be moving.
You know what? The funny part is that I can see a world where like Katakuri doesn't even become the captain, and like Perospero does.
I don't know. Perospero might be dead. So.
Oh, you think Perospero is dead?
It might be, yeah. I think Perospero is a great character, but I think he achieved everything he needed to. So.
Yeah, he was the only one that did anything.
Right.
I wouldn't be mad at that.
So it's like, if it wasn't him, then it's either Smoothie, Montour. They showed Moscato. He just hands the keys to Moscato.
Moscato is back. Moscato was like, wait, Moscato? I thought, okay.
Right, exactly. But then we also saw Roshio the Executioner.
Roshio was back.
I'm just like, come on, bro. Like, you took Bellamy's one body away.
Bringing everybody back. And then we saw our boy too. You know, one of the goats that people don't talk about enough.
Talking about Gin?
Krieg.
Don Krieg, yeah. I don't know. I think Gin, I think Gin hit Don Krieg with the I'm the captain now.
Oh no. Gin was too loyal. He's too loyal, bro. He's too loyal. And hey, to be fair, Krieg put like the Straw Hats in a box, man. If it wasn't for Gin, Krieg gets that W.
He did put up a good fight.
He put up a great fight.
I'm actually, look, I'm not even mad.
While he was hurt too.
I'm happy that we're seeing them in the new world. Like that is the type of gas that I want to see from Oda. But the other thing too is like, does this mean that they're technically aligned with Blackbeard now? Which was a theory for a long time. I mean, the Gin, Titanic Captain, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like, now are they like if hypothetically we go to Hachinosu or we end up like, you know, fighting Blackbeard's crew, like are Gin and Don Krieg, like, are they just like two people that like Oda spends a page on, like Sanji gets a rematch real quick, takes him out, and like, you know, it's like that kind of stuff.
Interaction.
That's gonna be fun.
I do not think Krieg and Gin are working for Blackbeard. I think it's one of those where it's just like Pirate Island is the, you know, this is Pirate Island's beehive. We're just gonna use Blackbeard as like a vehicle. Because I don't think Krieg ever stops going and feeling like he's the main character.
But that's also the question of, because I don't think it's actually been explicitly stated. Like, if you're on Pirate Island, are you basically bending the knee? Yeah, or is it Mocktown?
I think I think Blackbeard is creating a hub. It's almost like this is where you kind of prove your mettle, right? Can you survive here? It's not necessarily what Big Mom does with Whole Cake Island, but it kind of is just like, well, at least here, you don't have to worry about Marines. You just have to worry about other pirates. You know, like the Marines aren't going to come here and like arrest you for killing. No, but like there are other pirates that are going after you as well. So it's like the perfect place if you're one of those guys, because you know, you're kind of protected. I don't think it's necessarily bending the knee. You don't have to bend the knee, but you got to respect Blackbeard. Like, you can't, like, you know, like shoot down his flag or do something crazy like that. You probably can't even talk about him badly because just, you know, like he has people there. You know, he has snipers, literally. You know, he has the island. You have the island that, like, it responds to Blackbeard. You know, it belongs to Blackbeard. So I think it's one that just, like, you exist here. You follow the rules. You're not bending the knee, but you're just respecting what it is, you know. So it's a hub. I think it's like a hub. It's almost like you know, in those anime where like you go and they're like different they're a bunch of different, it's like guilds and shit like that, like different missions you can carry out, different ways you can kind of climb up the ladder to get closer to Blackbeard being one of his guys,
right?
Sure, or something like that, you know, like not necessarily like Kaido, but some of the meritocracy where it's like the more cachet you have, the more you get recognized. So,
and another crazy thing is that Gin is a swordsman now. He retired the tonfas.
I saw that. I like the tonfas.
I did too. That was like, it was,
I like the tonfas.
You know, a unique weapon system. I was on board.
And Pearl got upgrades. You know, and Krieg grew out the hair.
Hey, he's Fabio now.
They're looking swaggy, man. They're looking good. I mean, listen, bro. If you've been in the community for a while, you know it's been hella Gin theories about who Gin was gonna be. I remember like
chat put the Gin emojis. I want to see a flood of Gin emojis.
They thought like who was gonna be Gin because of the shoe. It's like so many different things.
Oh my god. Yo,
so, you know,
whose shoes, man? You taking
me
shoes,
back? Man. We were shoe scaling. It's like, oh, whose shoes are those? Yo, we're so weird as One Piece fans, but I love it.
And then the shoes in the Whole Cake cover story.
Like everything is always speculated, and we've been waiting for Gin. So I was super happy when I saw Gin again.
Oh, I stopped my stream for like 10 minutes, bro. Like
I was there for a while too, man. I was like, Gin? Are you kidding me? And Oda was so, bro. If I wasn't streaming, I wouldn't have seen it. So, like, people pointed, it was like, yo, that thing that's Gin. I was like, Gin. Like, why the heck we Gin? was like, wait, that looks like Pearl. Like, hold on.
Bro,
You guys might be onto something.
Gin was in my like top 5 characters coming into the series.
He's a very memorable character.
Like,
and Baratie is the arc that made me fall in love with One Piece. So,
yeah,
you know, Gin is an unforgettable character for me.
Like, if you asked me, even probably in like 2010 or something, you know, I mean, definitely if you asked me in 2003, but I mean, like, even all the way up to 2010, even all the way up to like 2015, like, I'd probably be sitting there saying, like, you know, 2010 Gin's top 5, 2015 Gin's top 10. You know, it's just like,
yeah,
like
more characters is like,
yeah, exactly. You know, it's like different things happen, but I mean, that fight between him and Sanji shooting a cigarette into his face, like that seeing Gin, that meant something to me. That meant something to me.
I think with Gin, it was just such a, he played both sides so well, where I pull up, I need food, you save me, I'm not a good guy because I'm still a pirate, that's still my captain, but then I repay the favor at the end, right? But I'm still with my guy. Like, that's still my captain. Regardless of how pathetic you think he is, that's still my captain. I'm taking him away. So it's just like, it's just one of those antagonists that you feel like, and then he beat Sanji, right? It was like, he just flat out beat Sanji. And it was just like, yo, what? This dude is incredible.
Yeah.
And then what he did at the end to save them, it was just like, all right, like, this dude is great, you know? So I think Gin is just one of those characters. I think it's one of those characters, technically every arc, that is, you know, you just don't forget. I mean, for me, somebody that I really liked, like for Water 7 and Islabi, was like Paulie and Kaku. I was leaning towards those two for Straw Hats, and then Frankie showed up. It was like, okay, you know.
Yep. I was Team Paulie for a bit.
You know, it was on Paulie for a while, man. And just like, all right. And so it's like, you have those guys, and of course, you know, you have like people like Wiper. Yep. You know.
Yeah. These are all characters that honestly, like, yeah. I would probably still put Paulie and Wiper in my top 20.
They're just fantastic characters that just, like, you know, they're unforgettable. So One Piece just does a great job. And I think if you ask everybody in the chat, it's probably gonna be different top 10s, different top 5s, you know, because it's just a vast majority of characters that hit you in different ways and different moments, especially when you get caught up to One Piece. For me, I was reading One Piece, watching One Piece, and I got to Baratie, and then I was like, oh shit, like, that's like, this is it. Like, I'm locked in, you know. Some people that was Alabasta, you know. Some people is Marineford, and that's gonna affect just the different characters that me and Loxy.
It was Baratie for me, and then Arlong Park, where it was just like, okay. And then Alabasta was the, okay, I like this more than Dragon Ball now.
I think where I was like, I can't deny it anymore was, I think, Sabodi, and just how devastated I was when they got separated.
Mm-hmm. Flashbulb memory. I still remember. I was in my boy's college dorm reading it on his laptop. It's like, what just happened?
I was stunned, bro. I was like, this is ridiculous. This is crazy. You know, and I was like, I'm locked in. And then Marineford, you know, it was just roller coaster, you know, and then post Marineford, it just broke me. It just broke me, you know, and then being caught up at that time and then having to sit with everything that just happened. I think the break was like 6 weeks.
It was at least a month.
But the time skip was like, it was at least a month that One Piece went on break after, I think it was 598, after Luffy put his hat down.
It was the longest break Oda had ever taken.
It was like, and you had to sit with it. And like, bro, it was, I think that for a week after that, it was just, what is happening? What are we gonna do? How are they gonna come back? And it was like, and again, it was just one of those times where I wasn't making content yet, and I wasn't locked in on YouTube. So it was just me. what I'm saying? It was just internalized. Just bro, what the fuck was? This is crazy, you know. And then, man, it's just like some Marineford for me is just. I like this is undeniable. This is undeniable. And we can't forget Enies Lobby. Enies Lobby, Water 7.
Oh no.
Um,
Can't forget that. That's all we got.
I think Enies Lobby, Water 7. Like that conflict within the crew, it was chef's kiss. Just chef's kiss. Like Zoro, not only Zoro, but like I think something that doesn't get highlighted enough is the Sanji in that moment telling Nami, chill out.
Mm-hmm.
Sanji told Nami, stand down. Like, no. He's right. And Zoro and Luffy, it was just fantastic interactions all around, man. And I think that's why Enies Lobby Water 7 kind of stands the test of time. Just
Sea Train
masterpieces.
Was peak for me.
Sea Train.
As a Sanji stan, it's just like, oh, my boy's the main character right now.
Where do you think Sanji was at his peak? Like more? Enies Lobby Water 7 or Whole Cake?
Subjectively, if it's between those two, it's Water 7 Enies Lobby for me. Like, not to disrespect. Like, I mean, obviously, like, there's some main character energy going on with Whole Cake. Like, it's very focused on him. We got the other flashback and everything like that. But like, when I start to think about all of the like hype Sanji moments, for me,
Mr. Prince,
they're all pre-time skip. Mr. Prince, thanks for the light. Bingo, Sea Train.
Yeah,
like these are those are the ones that's jumping.
They stand out more.
Like the stuff that happens in Whole Cake is fine, but it's like the Sanji, the characterizations there. It's more dramatic, thematic. He's taking more of the Usopp role and a combination of the Robin role from Water 7 and Enies Lobby. He's taking a back seat to what he normally is, which is, cool, suave, behind the scenes guy. And the spotlight is on him, which is, not, it's not usually. And that's fun. It's a good break from everything, but it's also one of those things where it's like, this doesn't always like work. Like I still haven't finished Better Call Saul, but I know that people love the show and everything, and it's a good spin-off from Breaking Bad. But how many times have series like tried to take one character from a team and give them their own thing, and then it flops because it's like this character really only works within the dynamic of everybody else being that part. And you all like this, but when we really put the spotlight on it, is it as effective? And I feel like Oda did do the Better Call Saul route where like he made it work, but it's still in that same framework of, I don't know if we are in a story where we can really put the spotlight on characters like that for as long as we did and take it away from Luffy or anything to keep the characters from doing what they normally do.
Yeah, it's almost like you said, Sanji performs well as more of a background character that comes in when it's necessary. And now, like, the spotlight is on him. It's almost like
he can't do what he's good at.
He can't be,
because all eyes are on him when he is best when no one's looking at him.
But also, like, because all eyes are on him, now he's exposed in a bunch of different ways,
which is great thematically, dramatically, because that's not what he wants in the first place. That unlocks the
character. He doesn't want that. And so he's like, in so many ways, now we're thinking about it and talking about it, Oda is making Sanji uncomfortable while it's making the audience uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right? Like, even with the conversation with Luffy.
Yep.
It's like the entire arc, for a lot of it, is just uncomfortable. And so I think it accomplished what it set out to do. But it goes back to like, well, we enjoy it, but that's not where we feel like Sanji excels the most. You know, that's not where we enjoy Sanji the most.
Which is why I respect everything that, you know, that's with our arc, but it subjectively, like, I will always go back to those pre-time skip moments because that's where, like, my boy's doing his thing. It, you know, it's also a situation, like, I think I could probably liken it to, like, Batman's role in the Justice League. Like, he's not the leader. Like, he's not the leader. He doesn't have, you know, he's not he's not the light that Superman is, right? Right.
And so like the brooding, sarcastic, it's like it's cool for like a few episodes.
Right. It's like if they're going up against Darkseid or all of these like crazy, like, you know, just superpower beings and all this kind of stuff, like he's not the guy that's gonna like box with that person. He's the one that's gonna go find the button that's gonna like mess up this dude's plans in the background and
to make it easier to bring him down.
Right, exactly. So it's like it's a situation where
the unsung hero,
and it's like you can have Batman movies and things like that where they focus on him, but like within the confines of what works for him, street level. But it's like if they ever made a Batman movie where it was like he doesn't have the Justice League, but he is up against Darkseid, you might just be sitting there like, what am I watching?
It feels a little ridiculous.
Right.
It does feel a little ridiculous. It's like, this isn't where, you know, it's like almost watching like a Batman film where like most of the film is in the daytime. You know, it's just like, like this isn't where Batman excels. And I think Batman, you know.
And that's what Whole Cake was. It was Batman in the daylight.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, I agree with you. Like a lot of the Sanji moments that you immediately think about, it is pre-time skip, and then the ones that's post-time skip, it seems like more somewhat character-based with like the Black Maria stuff, the Big Mom stuff. It feels like it's more like, you know, deepening some of the beliefs we had about his character, not the hype Mr. Prince stuff that we kind of fell in love with, which I would like for more of that to happen.
I would like that too. I mean, it was cool. You know, we've had a lot of like hype panels with Sanji post-time skip, like Sanji versus Doflamingo. Things like that. Like it's like that's what Sanji has kind of been relegated to.
It feels like short-lived too. Like, you know what I mean? Like because when you think of a Sanji versus Doflamingo, it's like it's a dope moment, especially considering where he came from. It's like it should be celebrated more, but all people remember is what happened after. Right? Like he pulls up from basically across Dressrosa, he stops Doflamingo, and it's like, oh, he's like, a strong one has arrived. And like that was an amazing moment, right?
Yeah.
And then Doflamingo strings him up.
And it's like Sanji's been amazing in Egghead, but what most people will take away from this arc is that he got Vegapunk killed. Yeah. And for me, I also like I will be a broken record with this until like his outfit changes, but I hate his drip. So it's like he might be winning and all this stuff, but I'm just looking like
his drip is not great.
Change your clothes, bro.
It's not great in Egghead. It's not great in Egghead. It's not. It really isn't.
No.
And typically this, you know, Sanji kills it with the suits, but this time it's not hitting. I agree with that.
Sourmander Sauce said, Big Mom is the only Yonko who hasn't fully acknowledged Luffy, and it bothers me. Need her to come back and evolve as a character. That'd be a good moment for Big Mom to have. Like if she, you know, recognizes Luffy in some way.
I get that, but it's, you know, she definitely hasn't acknowledged Luffy, but like I think about Big Mom falling in the lava and she's like, Roger, why did you have to go and, you know, why did you have to say anything? And, you know, she's almost like saying like the worst generation has caused such a problem for me, you know, which is not direct acknowledgement, but it's almost like these kids are kind of for real based on just like what you kind of started. So maybe I don't know if Big Mom is a type, because she's such a quirky character. I can't see how Big Mom, as we know her to be now, I can't see her ever acknowledging Luffy.
I still feel like Rocks and by way of Rocks, Kaido, Big Mom, and Whitebeard know a little bit more than they're letting on. Whitebeard more so because he had actual conversations with Roger. Like, Kaido and Big Mom are missing big pieces, but it's like, if Big Mom was able to get some of that from Elbaf, because, hey, you know what, they worship Nika, right? And she was in Elbaf while they were having a winter solstice celebrating Nika. And it's like, if she can put together that the sun god that Carmel talked about all this time is actually Luffy, like, maybe that changes something for her. We don't know.
Yeah, no, I think they're gonna be. It should be a major character change once we get that. You know, it's just because there's gaps in her understanding. There are gaps in her brain. Once that, maybe things come full circle and she becomes, you know, one of those people that acknowledges Luffy. Hidden had a good idea. He said that Big Mom comes back, but then when she comes back, she kind of she becomes like the typical old Japanese woman, so she like shrinks.
Oh, okay. So we're seeing worst timeline version Big Mom.
Yeah.
So now she's looking more like Bakin.
Like, exactly. She's like one of those small old women.
I could see Oda doing something like that. Yeah,
I like
for
that.
Sure. Yeah.
I like that because
looking
then,
like Gloriosa also.
He looks like, and then the justification is she used all her souls to live when she was in the lava.
Okay.
So then she just shrinks down, you know, to like one of those old, you know, and then she's like, I guess she seems more vulnerable in a way, and then now we're more empathetic and sympathetic to her character because she's not the strong beast that we're used to seeing. So I did like that idea a lot. So little mom, yeah.
Little mama.
Little mom. Yeah. So I did like that idea.
Yeah. They'll all be singing Pink Sake, and she'll come up and take the mic from him on stage.
And they're like, who the hell is that? Like, who the heck is that?
Yeah, no. But one thing I like the idea of is if they get to Elbaf and it is the winter solstice again, and it's like if they are having some sort of battle or anything,
right? They're gonna be fighting.
Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be fighting and all that stuff, but they won't feed Luffy when he needs to recharge Gear 5th because it's the winter solstice.
Oh, he can't eat.
And then it's like, but then they have to realize, like, but you're like,
this is the sun god.
Like, this is the sun god. Like, he wants the food.
This is
This is what you're doing this for him.
This now you like, that's gonna be an interesting conundrum. How do you deal with that? You do this for the sun god, and now you have the sun god here.
And he's asking for food.
He needs food.
But you don't want to give him the food because you're doing this for the sun god.
Somebody breaks it. Whoever, it might be the kid that wants to be Shanks. Because I always like, I'm like, yo, is that one of the first people they see once they get to Elbaf? That kid, you know? And then that kid like brings Luffy food and he gets in trouble and all this stuff, and then leads to something, and it leads to like the Straw Hats being like traitors because they broke the tradition of the winter solstice, and now Usopp gets captured, you know? And then now it's like Dory and Brogy against like the traditions of Elbaf because, you know, how they feel about Usopp. Then it becomes this whole big thing and misunderstanding. And once they finally get back to them, like Usopp has won them over, you know? So I can see like things like transpiring from like that conundrum that you mentioned with like Luffy being the sun god, the winter solstice.
There's so much drama that comes from that. So, and it's like, why did you set that up in Big Mom's flashback unless that was going to come into play and have food be so important to Luffy now more than ever?
Yeah. So, and then you throw Big Mom in the midst of that, just beautiful chaos.
You know? And
then I don't know if like, do we throw any Marines in Elbaf?
I don't think we need them. I think
the smoke show is back.
I mean, that's I'll always take the smoke show.
You know what I'm saying? He's back. First of all, Oda, where has he been? I need something. Tell me where Smoker has been. All right.
What is he carrying?
Something.
What's in the box?
What does he have?
What's in the box?
You know what does Smoker have? How has he been training? Right. I don't need Smoker just getting abused again. But, you know, bring Smoker back, please. Bring Smoker back.
I heard some people say that he's carrying an Ice Cube Garp.
That's crazy. If Smoker
someone said it in the chat too. Yeah, I don't think that.
And save Garp Dolo
Off screen.
Off screen.
Yeah.
All right. All right. That's kind of crazy.
Faye super chatted said, "I hope the end doesn't show the crew disbanded with new families. This cheapens the bond of the crew who only sailed for less than a year." I mean, we're gonna get some sort of an epilogue, and
yes,
whether or not Oda decides that it's important to show us many years in the future, that's up to him.
That's up to him. That's up to him.
Anime fanatic. Will we ever get a flashback of Mihawk versus Shanks?
Nah. Yes, but I don't think while the story is going on. Like, I think if we get a flashback, Oda is gonna just show like them about to fight, but we don't see anything from it. But I think that's the beauty of One Piece, and that's I think that's Oda's walk away card, where it's just like, I can walk away from One Piece because the world of One Piece is so vast and there's so many things you can take from it. Shueisha, the powers that be, they're like, okay, you can walk away because then we have other things we can play with. Now Oda's like, with my approval,
right,
but you can get like a Shanks versus Mihawk.
Here's the Shanks spinoff. This was his journey.
Here's a spinoff. Here's a Garp spinoff. Here's the Roger thing. We can do a God Valley thing. You know what I'm saying? It's so we can do like a Void Century thing. You know, because
a lot of gaps to be filled.
A lot of gaps to be filled, bro. We know next to nothing about Roger. Like next to nothing. Like we could have a whole story about Roger's journey and his upbringing, how he came up, like who started his dream, like
right,
yeah, brothers. You know, like we could do so many things there. So it's like we're gonna get it, but I don't think it's important right now in the story. This isn't.
My guy Ty's in chat. He said, "Sorry, I'm late, Cap. I've always wondered where Brago got his old intro track from."
Oh, I actually don't remember. I think I was I wanted an intro, and I think I spent like a few weeks just perusing YouTube for like sounds that caught my ear, and then it was like a random video, like somebody that had like, I think they had like 17 subscribers uploaded it, and then I heard the song and I was like, hold on. I played that song several times, and then I sent it, funny enough, I sent it to Eric Tolado, and I was like, yo, I think I want this to be my intro song. And he's like, you want it the way that it is? And I was like, no. So what I did was like, how it is in my intro isn't actually how the song goes. I actually broke it up to make it sound that way. So it's like a bunch of like parts broken up to make it the way it is. But
DJ
I don't
Brago.
remember. Yeah, I don't really remember, but like, you know, it's just something I stumble upon, to be honest.
So Ty said his track Mount Rushmore is 1, Lavish Brackets on this channel, 2, your intro,
Love to see it.
3, Jay's intro, and then 4, Cole's prayer.
Oh, this prayer got me dying, because he does have like a whole prayer that he does. The Church of Katakuri. I'm not mad at it, to be honest.
Nah, that's
I'm not mad at it at all.
Yeah. Wheezy Bird Super said, funeral music for Kid in the anime next week. We will be seated.
Shout out to Breezy. Guy.
Litmus Giant.
Listen,
Go ahead.
I think for One Piece fans, right, that read the manga, I think, you know, everybody should put on, like, you know, wear a suit, wear something black at least, you know, because I would argue like the Kid and Shanks stuff was I think since since Gear 5 was one of the more popular chapters.
Oh,
right.
Oh yeah.
As far as just
that
like,
had the community buzzing.
right. It had the community in an uproar. So I think it's gonna be now the manga community gets to revisit it, and now you have the anime onlys. They get to tap in, and because of how I expect it to be animated, you're gonna have people that don't even watch One Piece that know about Shanks. They're gonna be tapping in. So I expect it to be one of those moments. So, this may be just the final nail in the coffin for Kid. And so, as unfortunate as it is, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait, to be honest.
Oh yeah. Nah, next week's
I cannot wait.
Next week's gonna be crazy.
That's gonna be insane.
Litmus Giant said Roger was who Whitebeard respected the most, so he expected it to be Ace. Yeah.
Is Roger who Whitebeard respected the most?
It's a great question. We'll have to see what we'll have to see what what happened at God Valley for that. Wolf D Whiskey, appreciate the 10, said you both are goats. Oda couldn't kill Luffy, sad way to end the story. I agree, that's always been one of my takes.
It's very sad. It is very sad.
Egghead is missing Zoro and Jinbe interaction with Devon and Augur. I wanted at least one interaction between the Blackbeard pirates and the Straw Hats.
That will come.
Yeah.
That will come. It's not time yet.
Yeah.
The interaction I got with Zoro and Nesjiro, that's all I wanted with Zoro.
Yeah.
That's it. Just an acknowledgement, his sword. That's it. And we got it. So I thought that was perfect.
You think we get bounty increases after Egghead? I don't think so either.
Feels too soon. Yeah.
It's too soon. And also it's like, my thing is because I was thinking about this either yesterday or earlier today, and I was like, Usopp's bounties have always been like reflections of Luffy's bounties. Like he just keeps getting whatever Luffy's last bounty was. And it's like, so that means that he's got 500 million now, so he's got to go to 1.5. And Usopp hasn't done anything in Egghead to warrant that. So
post Elbath. I think if for instance, if Usopp is named King of Elbath, some shit like that, and he has a spear of Elbath, or he gets something like that's treasured, and it's like his name is now ringing among the heavens. It's like, wait, okay, it was God Usopp before. We gotta increase this guy.
Right.
We gotta do it.
So then, for that matter, maybe we do have a world government marine presence there, because someone's got to.
We have to. We need somebody there.
Someone's got to report it.
I like to bring the smoke show back.
Hey.
Bring him back.
Vasil Vladivanovici said yesterday, Artur posted on Twitter the earliest prototype of One Piece forward. Luffy's name was Pao. Gomu is an old 5,008-year-old man, and Nami was the first Nakama.
I saw that. I saw Arthur post that. I saw people spinning it because there was something that Oda based Zoro and Sanji off of Samurai and Knight. So then it turned into, I guess Oda back then named them or called them rivals. So then it sparked up the Zoro and Sanji debate again, saying that, hey, Oda called them rivals, so they're definitely rivals. So they, they're strong. They're the same strength. But that's what I saw. So I thought that's that guy. But I did see that old post. It's crazy because they said, oh my God, this is from 30 years ago. I was like, oh shit, that's a long time. That's like, wait, it's 1990s. 1990s. I was like, holy shit. That's actually 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk to the chat for a minute. I'll be right back.
All right, bet. Time is passing. Chat. We get to spread the love of Akainu now. So while Randy's away, let's just spam our love for Akainu. So Chopper's never once warned Luffy that the power is killing him. I mean, Chopper at this point is just like, he's just merch, right? He's just merch. Not Katakuri. Bro, I feel like with Katakuri, it's already like apparent, I feel like it's so funny because a lot of the Katakuri hate just comes from Twitter for no apparent reason. I feel like I don't even know why people. Why would you not like Katakuri? I feel like the people that hate Katakuri are the people that just don't like when characters get too popular. It's weird to me. Spread the Admiral agenda. I mean, bro, I think the Admiral agenda is just one that's like, it's already accomplished its goal, right? It's already accomplished its goal. You know, I think it's already infested. A lot of the Yonko fans, when I talk to them, they're like, you know what? Like, you know, I don't think they're stronger than the Yonko, which was never the agenda, by the way. But, you know, I underestimated them, which is true. Gomu is Zoro-boys' real name. That's why they named the Nika fruit the Gomu fruit, because maybe bro is a family with Emu. And I'm not mad at that. I kind of has more fans than Katakuri on Twitter. I mean, yeah, but then we saw the poll, right? Wasn't Katakuri like top 12? Right? I think Katakuri was top 12. So Katakuri's good. He's good, bro. The God Knights agenda. The only thing with the God Knights, we don't have enough context to even base anything off of, right? The God Knights, all we have is Garling. And until we see more of them or just get more context on the God Knights, it's just not, we can't bring any more God Knight hype. You know what I'm saying? So the God Knights, that time will come. More Green Bull, I agree. I think we need more Green Bull. I don't agree with Green Bull's ideals and how he looks at the world, but I think he's correct about how the world is. You know, which he's one of those. I think he's one of those guys that goes down with the ship. I think Green Bull is. I think he's okay with the world being what it is because he's just like, you know, he's in a Akainu stand, and that's another thing too.
He's
like
lost
if
in the
Akainu
sauce.
breaks away. But if Akainu breaks away from the world government, you know, he's a Celestial Dragon fanboy too. Like, do you go with Green Bull? You gonna go with your guy, or you just staying with the Celestial Dragon? So, I'm interested to see how that plays out too.
That's the thing, but it goes back into the idea that it's like we need villains at the end of the story. If everybody turns to our side, like who are we fighting?
I think that's how I felt. I felt like that in Egghead for a while. Like after the Giants showed up, I was like, all right. Like Kizaru's out of the fight. The Giants just showed up. Yeah, like who are we fighting?
Like we're already making it seem like Kizaru is going to turn against the world government now.
Yeah. Which we need people.
I'm slowly coming around to, but still wasn't something that I necessarily wanted, and that's why I was like, I need Akainu and Green Bull to stay evil because Fuji's going to turn. So it's just
Fuji's going to turn. I think Kizaru, out of regret, he just goes down with the ship, and I think he does like something sacrificial in the final war.
I actually would love it if he died right here. Like if he came back into everything, and because it's like after all of this, like I don't know where you go in the story. What are you gonna do if you're not helping us?
Yo, chat. What? Randy wants to kill everyone.
Hey, we're in the final saga. Do we need everybody?
I agree with you, but they need the admirals badly though. Like they need him. Like imagine if they lose Fuji and Kizaru. Who are we fighting? Like who's left? I guess a Seraphim.
I don't know.
You know,
let's get Admiral Mamanga. I need Admiral Mamanga.
Or you do something with Momoshiki and Shaitan. You do something with those guys.
Gas them up in an SBS. What's up with them?
You know, at some point, we need to like see some feats from them. At some point.
Yeah. Red Hood 52 said, I think Bluegrass and Doll will go to Elbaf with the Straw Hats. Maybe Smoker shows up. We could return a Green Bull or Fuji. In that situation, I would probably prefer Fuji. Just because Smoker and Fuji have had interactions. So, like, you know, I'm cool
I would like that. A Smoker and Fuji, like, buddy. Like, yeah, in Elbaf, just being together.
Kind of sharing their little...
Yeah.
Own little like
just their beliefs, just the different things. Because you know, Smoker said even if he was in Fuji's position, he wouldn't be able to do what he did. You know, where it's like just basically challenge Akainu.
Or they get involved in anything cross guild because it's like they wanted the Warlords banished. Now they're all working together. That sounds
Because
like...
then it could Cross Guild send some people to Elbaf? Do they have? Is it necessary?
I mean, I would
'Cause I
love.
feel like-
I would love if Cross Guild was involved with Elbaf, because it's like, here's the thing too. Everything with a lot of like, you know, Baroque works and everything like that. Like, we were in the Baroque works saga for Little Garden.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, why shouldn't we have someone like Mr. 3 at Elbaf?
Yeah. I like that.
Like, they already know about the giants and everything. Like, is this their second opportunity to go for Dorian Brogy or something? You know, I don't know.
They send him.
Yeah.
I think I just want as many people, not just a lot of people in Elbaf, but I would like if it's just like some of the guys, you know, almost like a reunion.
Yeah.
In Elbaf.
Let's make this as crazy as possible, because it's like, even more so than Wano, like, Elbaf is what Oda's been wanting to do since the beginning of the story. So it's like, this, whatever Elbaf ends up being, you know, you can tie as much Norse mythology as you want into it. It's going to be, Oda's going to have fun. It's going to be what he's going to be letting loose on a lot of things that he's been holding back on. He's going to do it in Elbaf.
I think after Gear 5, you know, it just shows that Oda has like, I just want to have fun with the story.
He literally said
whatever that looks like
in 2022 before Gear 5. He's like, I'm entering the final saga, and my goal, whether, you know, and some fans might not, you know, agree with it, I'm paraphrasing, you know, I'm just gonna have fun. Things are gonna get a lot, like, you know, goofier. You know, I mean,
so
that's
like, your expectation of what Loki is probably isn't what he's gonna be.
No, I'm expecting like you know, a Orochi Wapple type character that is like completely tied to Usopp's storyline. Like,
I don't think
Loki's a trickster, the mischief god. Like, that's Usopp right there.
I don't think he's gonna be the strong, dominating figure that people.
Nah, that'll be somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, there's going to be somebody else.
Or it'll be replaced because we'll have Blackbeard involved, or Shanks involved, or, you know, some other giant, or, you know, some other figure. Loki is not going to be the main antagonist. I think it'll be like a secondary antagonist, maybe. Because in Norse mythology, there are some things where it attacks classism, which is obviously a pervasive theme in One Piece to begin with. You know, you got Hightown at Goa, and you have everybody in the Great Terminal and all that. Like, in Norse mythology, like, you have situations like that. Like, you have Asgard, where all of the gods are like the kings and everything are, and then you have Jotunheim, or, you know, which is, you know, where all of the, you know, the normal giants live and all this kind of stuff. So I could see a situation where we get to Elbaf and we spend a lot of time in like the version of Jotunheim, which is where like Dorian Brogy are from. Like, they're from the lower class. And then you have Loki and all these other people that are in the higher class that, you know, that's where we might have a Thor, you know, maybe an Odin, or Odin might be someone that was in the Void Century, which I would actually prefer. And this is, you know, we're gonna have to break down that cultural class barrier there.
Right. Exactly. I was just thinking that, just like, how do we overcome some of the established cultural things in Elbaf that probably reflect how some things are with the rest of the world, you know, where it's just like how people are looked upon, lineage, just being highborn, you know, just those certain things. How do we just completely demolish some of those ways of thinking, and with Usopp as the catalyst, you know? I wonder if it's a relatable thing with Loki and Usopp, where you have the kids of warriors that are already established, and so it's a lot of expectations, and so they they bond over that, where maybe Loki doesn't have a great relationship with his dad, and then he starts talking to Usopp, and it's like, well, this is what my dad is. This is what my dad expects of me. This is not who I am. I actually like to paint, and it's just like different ways to just, humanize these giants, while not, making villains of the others, but just like you said, reflecting of what things typically are in these situations.
And it
But
could be a
how we
situation
use
where
Usopp
it's
as
like
a catalyst.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited to see what Oda does. And I mean, but the thing is like everybody is expecting Elbaf to be an Usopp arc, and it will be to an extent. Yeah. But it's going to be the most Luffy arc that we've probably ever had, because it's like this is where all of the Nika stuff has to like come to a head, because it's like this is their god.
Comes full circle.
So it's like if the lower class, like whatever, and the higher class, like if they both represent different factions that both worship the sun god, it's like that could be a way to bring them together. If it's if that's Luffy's end result in the arc. It's just like
you guys get
you guys get a
because they look at Luffy as like a false god.
Maybe they might not.
Like
they might have to come around to it.
Right. Yeah. Like they said, like
or because they're not letting him eat. They don't know.
Right. They don't know. Right. And he's like, yeah,
they see him. I don't want to believe. Look at this old man. Like you're gonna tell me.
And Doran Burgie's like, no, we're telling you, this is.
He needs to just eat some food. We can't feed him. No, it's the winter solstice, bro.
And then they feed him, and then it's like Doran Burgie, they're like the traders of Elbaf, so it becomes a thing. So no, it's so many ways that Oda could spin this to make this great. And I think even with Saul being in Elbaf, that's another plot point that we have to, we're gonna have to obviously come around to that. And then
3
now
key
it's
figures: like, Luffy, Usopp, Robin.
Yeah,
that's what the focus.
They got some major roles to play, which obviously they get separated. Strass are gonna get separated in Elbaf pretty early too.
Yeah,
they're gonna get separated. Yeah. Like
some might end up in Asgard, some are over here. Like it's just
they're gonna get separated. They already technically they're separated right now. So, they're on different ships. So I would not be surprised if like one ship lands here, the other ship lands here, and then just from the beginning, they're just operating from 2 different spots. And I think that's what Oda typically does when you kind of have to get Luffy out of the picture to let the others shine a little bit. And so, I would not be surprised if Usopp and Luffy specifically get separated.
Yes.
Just because we need some focus on Usopp.
They were also separated in Little Garden, and I expect us to see a lot of different parallels in that arc as well. And one thing that I'll still stand by is that Elbaf will be the arc where we finally get the Vivi reunion. And if that's the case, then Vivi will be with whatever Luffy's group is, because she was with Luffy on Little Garden. So I
thought it would happen in Egghead. I thought Vivi would get there in time.
I think there's still time. Time.
Yeah.
That I've still always said that like if it's gonna happen in Egghead, it's gonna be the last panel of the arc or something. Where it's like they're trying to get away, and then it's the blimp, and it's just like reaching the hand
just
out
jumps
or
out.
Yeah, or it's like they have to get into the blimp. Like something like that.
Yeah, I would love for Vivi to go to Elbaf. I would love that so much, just reunion, and they have that just like some nostalgia of Little Garden. I need that. That'd be great. Like I said, high expectations for Elbaf. I mean, we're already at the point now in Egghead where you know what people do. Man, I'm just ready for Elbaf.
Well,
man,
speaking
of that, out of Egghead,
we got a super chat from Brian Carter that said, "How many more chapters of Egghead are left? I think the arc could last till the end of the year and into next year." No, I do not. Egghead? No, we're already on the water. We've already left the island.
3 to 5 chapters.
Yeah. If Oda wasn't doing 13 pages a chapter, I would have said that like 1120 would have been the end a couple of chapters ago. But it's like now, it might be at this rate, like somewhere like between now and like 1123. Like,
yeah,
we've already
3 to 5. And then Oda, like, a lot of those chapters are just going to be wrap up of like repercussions.
What ship is everybody
th-
on?
yeah.
Which direction is everybody going? Like the next chapter has to be what's going on with Zoro, because he's the one that's still the furthest on the island.
Yeah, I think.
But he's got
next
Jinbei with him.
chapter-
Jinbei could actually just swim with Zoro, potentially.
I think at this point, the next chapter is like absolutely just everybody's gone. Everybody's off of there. And then the chapter after that, that's when we get into, okay, they're gone, now what? We're looking at Kizaru, we're looking at the Gorosei. Maybe we get a reaction panel from Imu, right? And then it's like, I can't see it going past like 5 chapters. Because we've gotten to the point, unless Oda does a thing where he lets the robot give us more information, and then he gives us some more reaction from other people, right? Unless he does that. If he does that, then it could be extended, to seven or so, just because of the information that we get. But I would say 3 to 5. We're pretty much out of there. So
yeah, that's
kind of where I'm at with it.
This is the end. This stuff with Bonnie is like the closing thing. We'll have like a big thing from Kuma. Kuma will probably die. He'll be representative of that. I think to really cap the arc, once we're away from everybody, I think we'll have we'll get to Elbaf and we'll have a Viking funeral for Kuma and Vegapunk.
Yeah,
like we did for the Mary.
Even for Vegapunk, I'm holding out. I still want to see how he's maintaining the brain, Punk Records. Watching the anime recently, they had mentioned how Vegapunk can grow organs. I think they call them organoids.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's like, okay, did he create I want to say a stand-in replacement body of organs that he created? So even if Stella got destroyed, the brain is still being supplied.
I mean, it's possible.
Like,
I mean, this dude,
body,
dude, has all these clones. Those organoids and all that stuff are probably part of the Seraphim. Did he make a Seraphim Stella? And like put downloads his brain. There's gonna be something.
The brain's being fed some way. It's still alive, so it's just, this is Vegapunk, and so like I'm still holding out hope that he's still like Stella's conscience. He's still alive in a way, but he's just in a different form. And so he becomes like a Jarvis or something at some point.
Yeah, I actually mentioned that a while ago, where I thought we could get like a computer on the Sunny, and that we would have like a hologram or Jarvis Vegapunk,
Stella,
of the Stella, that as we start learning more about the history and everything, like it gives an opportunity for Robin to download the information into his system so that he still knows what's going on.
I think at the end of it, Robin opens up a library, like a literal library, call it the Library of Ohara, and then Vegapunk is like kind of like the Jarvis of that library, where it's just like you have those shows where he's giving information about the Void Century and all this different stuff, and it's just like just sharing his knowledge and thoughts. So
that's fun.
I think Stellas could still be alive.
Terrence Matthews said, let's not forget about the Gods Knights. Yeah, we'll have them at the end.
The good part about the God Knights, we don't have to deal with them right now. Right? They're not relevant yet. They are part of the world government. They are faction. I think
it's a good collection of people that we know will always be bad. That's just good.
Right. They're always going to be bad. And there's no redemption there for those people. I think we start to get drips, like drip fed some God Knight stuff. Once we start to get some Shanks stuff, like if Oda gives some Shanks backstory, etc. But that is like Oda has like an amazing faction that he has yet to even reveal all of these guys.
But I almost also feel like that might be the Revolutionary Army's thing that they have to do too, because the person who told us about the God's Knights was Dragon. So does that mean that Dragon is going to be leading the charge against the God's Knights? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the God Knights are interesting because you feel like they are going to be one of the main fighting forces for the world government. But then I'm like, Dragon against Garling, it's not a matchup I was expecting. Like, I still just want Dragon and Akainu to have a conversation or something. Like, you know, just like, but you know, I want to see the rest of the God Knights first before I kind of figure out the matchups, because that may be telling.
Yeah.
Just seeing the rest of those guys.
Anime Fanatic said thoughts on what Blank is gonna do in Elbaf. I think by the end he should be able to create massive sword slashes casually, like Mihawk, or even a new sword. So I think the Blank is Zoro.
Zoro.
I feel like he's already casually making massive sword slashes like Mihawk at this point. I don't think Zoro needs a new sword.
It's just refinement.
Yeah, I think
that's all.
I think the goal of, I think what we're gonna find out about like supreme grade blades and everything, it's like it's also all tied to this will and everything is like what you do with the blade is what makes it supreme. So it's like,
I was just thinking about that, bro. Like, they said they got 12, right?
Yeah.
But then homie in Elba in Wano said, well, you know, Enma can raise its rank if it becomes a black blade. So then I'm thinking, like, so since they've said it's been 12 supreme grades, has there been any other blades that's kind of their rank has been raised through just other characters? You know, like, were these supreme grade, when these characters received their blades, were they already supreme grade? You know, so it's just like, I wonder just where we're going with that. Like, could we see more supreme grade and be like, okay, well, we thought there were 12 and there's actually more than that? Could like other characters raise their ranks to add to the supreme grade stuff? But you know, Zoro doesn't need much, right? He's at the point now where you might need to hone him in a little bit. like he's like that. Zoro's not one of those characters you're like, man, what else does he need? He just refinement, control Enma, some more hockey stuff, and like Zoro's one of the easiest characters that you can build.
Yeah,
one of the easiest characters.
The Wado Ichimonji will be a blade that becomes supreme by the end of the series. Like, that will be, I think that's the thing. When he beats Mihawk, the blade
will goes up, Enma goes up.
It'll turn black right then.
Does he get Zoro's blade? Or does he gift it to Shiki? You know, I don't know.
Add this to your collection. You know, I'm
like, because you're not gonna get it by yourself. Here, start
savage.
this.
Yeah. So I think I want to start wrapping things down. I did want to talk about the SBS real quick. Get into that because there was some crazy stuff that came out of this one. This is probably one
actually amazing.
The craziest SBS in a long time. Like, I have been waiting to find out who the warlord that Ace beat for years. And
it was speculation. There's a lot of speculation. I'm happy that we got him. And Oda gave us an illustration of him. Pretty good one too. Like he's been saving him. Like, oh well, here he is.
Yeah, and it almost feels implied that this guy was tied to Kaido too.
Kaido ties,
which could explain why Ace was even in Wano in the first place. You know, it's like, I would love a story. I was thinking about this. I was like, what would be the, you know, the backstory here? Like, if he's looking for mythical zone, you know, like ancient zones and stuff like that, like, I wonder if he was targeting Marco or something. Like, I mean, it's a mythical, but like, how did I want to know how Ace and Hanafuda like scrapped in the first place? How did they meet? Like,
What was the motivation?
Yeah.
It probably could have been a situation where, Ace, because seemingly just like Luffy, he has the ability to draw people to him. So similar situation, he goes, he meets somebody, and they're being, taken advantage of by Hanafuda and his crew. And then Ace, he takes care of him. I guess, like you said, you wonder like where it happens, and could that be, like you said, a motivation to go to Wano? Is that why he was so confident, because of him beating Hanafuda?
Yeah, I wonder if that's how Jack got his spot.
But then you think about it, where it's like, did like all the Toby Roppo, and not necessarily the Toby Roppo, but like all the Zone fruits that Kaido has, did you just get them from Hanafuda?
Maybe
somebody else.
That's how the Toby Roppo got their stuff.
Yeah, so
is that why Kaido was so like ready to head to Marineford? Or, to fight Ace or something? Like, it wasn't even so much that he went to Wano.
Yeah.
It was that you took out my
revenge.
Man. I had a warlord.
Is this not new to Kaido?
Is this why he even? Is this how he got Doflamingo? Or were they always working? Was it like, did he have to replace Hanafuda with Doflamingo?
Remember, like, he loses Hanafuda, so Doflamingo comes with a proposition. Hey, I can get you Zoan fruits, but they're kind of different. I know you were working with Hanafuda. Maybe Hanafuda was the original OG king of the underworld, Dofi comes in, and it's like, because Dofi, it seemed like he had recently turned his attention to, like, he's like, this is the era of Smile. He's like, no, like, we're done with all that other stuff. Right. So after you, like, secure a client like Kaido, you're like, all right, like, business is booming. So it's like,
because let's think about the timeline.
That could be the through line. Yeah.
This, we know now that Kuma became a warlord probably like 3 months before Luffy started his journey, like somewhere around there.
Pretty recent.
Which means that's got to be around the time where Ace beat Hanafuda in the first one. So everything that's going on, like as Luffy's moving through the journey, like the Smile stuff, all of that stuff could be
all these are
new developments,
alliances,
products of this happening in the first place.
Because we know that the Doflamingo thing is new, because he's still getting rid of his other businesses.
Right. He's telling Disco on the phone, like,
yeah.
I don't even care about that anymore.
yeah.
Like, this guy Hanafuda's out. I'm working with Kaido now.
Like I'm with Kaido now. I'm like the Kaido's Connect. So yeah, I think that's probably what it is. Like, after Hanafuda get defeated, Doflamingo pulls up, and then I don't know. I think it's a great connection, considering who got Ace's Devil Fruit after he died. Flamingo. So it's Oda could tie that in very easily. That could tie it in very easily.
What if it was a thing where Kaido like made him get it? It's like, find that.
It was like, I need that.
Like,
then
a trophy.
It?
It's like a trophy.
Right, you just want to have it, but then Doflamingo puts it up.
Doflamingo putting it up on the thing, that's a plot hole. That's
Bro,
like,
I never understood why he would. Why would you put the?
Why is the real fruit in there?
Why is the real fruit in there? Put a Smile fruit.
Right.
I feel like that would be like a sick joke for Dofi. Put a Smile fruit.
Is it cake? Just, it's fake.
Like,
what is it? I don't
why
feel
would you
nothing.
put the actual fruit in there.
Because then it's like, Doflamingo seems so stupid. He should have been like, oh, you thought I really had the fruit in there. Nah, I got it right here, dummy.
Nah, I got it. Like, that's a Smile fruit. This is the era Smile.
Sabo turns into like some elephant.
Turns into killer.
Like the killer elephant, yeah.
Come on, man. Like, I didn't understand that, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Some people say it's overconfidence. He was just like, they will never get it.
Oh, that's interesting. Brandon King in the chat, he threw out two interesting things. He was like, one, do you think Hanafuda was page 1 on Ulti's dad? Which is kind of cool. But I feel like whoever that page 1 Ulti's dad, I feel like that had to happen years ago for them to actually like have the relationship with Kaido. That seems
they were kids.
Yeah. But then he also said, what if Ace used an attack that seemed that resembled the meteor killing the dinosaurs.
Because he was a lizard king, right?
He's a lizard king, so he has to. What I guess if Drake had the Allosaurus, maybe he was actually the Tyrannosaurus,
Or maybe this.
or maybe
Or Queen's fruit? I don't know.
maybe Ace killed him, and Drake actually got Hanafuda's fruit. He wasn't always an Allosaurus. Getting tinfoil there, but we'll see.
Not mad at that one. But the fact that Oda gave us the name and the illustration, the epithet, he has a plan for that storyline. There's a plan there. There's something going on there. So I actually like that.
I feel like we could get more there, but I don't think
Not
that,
right now.
Yeah, but I don't think that there's like a big plan. Like I don't think we're gonna find out Hanafuda is the man marked by flames or anything like that. Like
No, not nothing like that. I think it'd just be like something that, like an Ace, like for Ace's story. If he planned, like, I wouldn't be surprised if something gets announced, some more Ace stuff coming out.
yeah, like
All
an
of a sudden
Ace,
it's like,
Ace spin-off, something.
Yeah, something Ace. Because like, I mean, Ace is still what, top 5, right?
Yeah.
He's still like one of those characters that still gets voted highly. So it's just like you just keep using him. just keep rolling it out there.
Nah, that was great.
You got some more Ace stuff.
And then, where do you stand on Tritomo? I see, like,
who?
Toritoma. Toritoma. Yeah, that's right.
Is it Toritoma?
I don't know. I'm team the missing Empress was potentially Luffy's mom, and I feel like this SBS gives some credence to it, because it's like, I made a recent video where I was like arguing for Luffy's entire lineage, and in the mom section I was saying it seems likely that it could be a situation where the missing Empress actually was Luffy's mom. And I think there's a lot of irony of Dragon, someone who's like associated with wind, finding love on an island with no wind because it's in the calm belt. Mm-hmm. And Kuma was revealed that he can only send people to places he's been. So he's been to the island. So he's been to an island where men aren't allowed. Why was he there? Was he there with the Revolutionary Army? Like, that's the only thing that makes sense. Like, if he was going there in the first place, would been when he was rocking with them. Was it because Dragon had a child there with someone there? I don't know.
I like that through line. I think my only question would be, then why did she die? Because she technically found love, right? Unless Luffy wasn't a love child. It was just a wham bam.
I feel like the government might have gotten involved, man. Like, I mean, that's the best case scenario. Here's the thing that I also brought up is the timeline of events. Luffy is born, and then a few months later, Hancock is captured by the world government. Mm-hmm. It's literally like the same year. It's when Hancock turns 12. But she started the year at 11. So Luffy's born. Her birthday's in September. His birthday's in May. She turns 12. She's captured. Goes to the world government. The Empress at that time would have been Toritoma. Mm-hmm. So
they took her out.
They could have taken her out at the same time that, like, Hancock was getting captured. Maybe it was like they were all on a boat together. And what if it was because of her connection to Dragon? See, like, the big thing about Dragon is, if you're going to be called the most dangerous man in the world, you have to know things. The most dangerous thing in One Piece is knowledge. So it's it's Roger. Everybody went so hard body for him because he had the knowledge of the true history. He had the knowledge of the world. So Vegapunk is getting a buster call because he's been studying the poneglyphs. Dragon must know things about the Void Century, about the Void History, about something that makes him that dangerous. So if they were to find out that man had a child a few months prior, They might have gone after Toriyama and all of that, trying to do what they did to Roger and do a little baby hunt.
I like that idea.
Why does Garp hide Luffy in the woods after he eats the Nika fruit, the fruit that they're so hard body for in the first place? It's like why does Garp want Luffy to be a Marine so bad? Because he thinks that it's the only way he can protect him. Don't worry, I made him a Marine. He's on our side. You don't have to kill him. I hid him for 20 years so that
you loyal.
He can join us
to protect him, so that he can be a part of it, and plans backfired. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think about that with Dragon, and how the Empress could be connected with him, but that does make sense. It does make a ton of sense. It's like, it's funny because we do this every time with Luffy's mom. Like, everybody pops. Somebody pops up, and it's like,
I know.
And some people, I don't know why people get mad at it at this point. It's just like, bro, it's a running joke. We're gonna do it. Somebody else is gonna pop up again. And we're gonna
Miles is in the chat. Remember, 4 months said, "Looks like Croco Mom's back on the menu, boys." Like, exactly. I mean, it just doesn't stop,
right? It's a gift that keeps on giving. Like, it's just one of those, bro.
Yeah.
It's Stan Lee popping up in every like, like the Marvel stuff. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all it is, man.
No, but it all just like I made a whole through line and everything with it, and there's a lot of deeper layers and everything, but it's like I actually think that Gloriosa could potentially be Luffy's actual grandmother, and that she had a kid with Yorkie, which would then be potentially Toriyama. Toriyama could actually be Gloriosa's daughter. And it's just like, I did all of this stuff, and then like the next SBS, like he reveals Toriyama, which is like really timely for like,
that's interesting.
Putting the theory out. But it's like, Yorkie, we never saw the body. He sailed into the Calm Belt.
Yeah. So
I think he landed Amazon Lily. I think he's the person that Gloriosa got love sickness for. They left and both joined Rocks. And God Valley, the reason Yorkie would have been there in the first place, is in the West Blue. He's trying to find the Rumbar Pirates. He thinks maybe they got out and went back. So... But
the Yorkie agenda has been around for so long.
I know, but
I'm not mad at the Yorkie.
No. I'm big on the Yorkie agenda now, and I think the events of God Valley made him the man marked by flames.
Oh, Yorkie is a man marked by flames.
Yeah. So that what we end up getting, we get a thematic through line where the person who was introduced at the very start of the journey in the Grand Line becomes the character that we have to get the final piece from at the end. So Crocus tells us about Laugh-Tale and tells us about Yorkie, but we have to find Yorkie to get to Laugh-Tale.
I think it brings everything, like you said, full circle.
I'm always looking for stuff like that, man.
I like it. I like it. I like it. I've heard a lot of Yorkie theories over the years. I like that one. I like it. The Yorkie agenda is still strong.
Yeah.
I see Jersey Randy be going hard on Yorkie, but Gin came back, so I can't blame him. Hey, I feel like it's not even unless you see the body, because we saw Orochi's body, right? Like,
yeah.
I think you gotta see the grave, bro. Like,
yeah. Well, like, he had, look, here's the thing though, is that he clearly had tree fever. Like, you go back to the Nolan flashback, like the way that, like, the disease that he had, tree fever. They said that they got the disease in the jungle. So 400 years go by, game of telephone, people may not know what the disease was, because that was 400 years ago. Are we keeping records and remembering what this is? Nolan was killed. He knew what the cure was, but maybe botany and the study of all of it died with him.
Yeah, it doesn't get
But
passed down.
you know who would probably know this information though? The Amazons, because
They
they're not
retain their they're not a part of everything.
And what happened when Luffy got there? He got a disease from a mushroom, and they used their foliage to fix it, which is how you clear tree fever in the first place. So, but that also ties into me believing that the Shandians are actually like the descendants on the monkey side of the family. So Calgara is like Luffy's great grandfather. Great.
How did we get to that? Wait, do we have enough time for that one?
I don't know, man. I mean, you can maybe just watch the video, but
well, yeah, it is. Let me see. Let me hear that video. I want to know that video. I want to watch that. I want to watch that. I want to see how you tie that one together.
Do you remember what Calgara did when he first appeared?
What's that?
He was taking down a ship with a ball on a chain.
Mm-hmm.
What do we see Garp do at the end of Ennie's lobby? Post Ennie's lobby. He's trying to attack them with a ball on a chain. Like, Oda gave Calgara and Garp the same attack. The dude that married Calgara's daughter looks exactly like Luffy. Like, he is like Seto. He just looks like Luffy, bro. So, I think that they had a kid in between the 4 to 6 years, or whatever, that it took for Nolan to come back. And when everything shot up in the sky, there were people that didn't go. And Seto and Moose's kid was one of that. They eventually have children, and that leads us to Garp and Dragon.
I think it makes sense.
Also, Moose is the first person in the story to say Sun God. She's talking about the Sun God. So it's like this person that was about to be sacrificed to the Sun God in the first place eventually is like the person who brings upon the Sun God. It's the only flashback in the series, or at least that early in the series, that didn't have a POV character of somebody who was alive. So if Oda is giving us that flashback, it's got to be
savage,
because it's got to be relevant to the main character.
Mm-hmm.
So if Luffy is a descendant of Calgara, and then like Usopp, as it's been theorized forever, is a descendant of Nolan, in some way or another, like then that arc, that flashback just means way more. I don't know.
Yeah, it connects them in multiple ways.
That's
yeah, I need that video. I'm gonna watch that video.
Oh, the evidence is there. It's actually my most watched video now.
Oh, is it? You love to see it.
Yeah, people.
You love to see it. No, that sounds hella interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, but Randy, that's your bag, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, with like with the lost sword theory, it's just that's kind of your bag, and I think I always remember when we talked about back then. Gotta give your props on I believe we talked about Ashra Doji.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, when we were collabing with Jay.
Yeah. And, Randy was like, Ashra Doji's done. I was like, no way. I was like, no way. I was like, not like this. He was like, yeah, man, I think Ashra Doji's dead, man. I think that's it. He has nothing else left to do. I was like, bro, he went out. I was like, he went out crazy, man. Oh, they got to give him something else. He's like, nah, he's dead, bro.
I didn't switch up either. I didn't switch up the entire time. And then we get to the end of Wano. It's just like, I'm just sitting there.
Rest in peace, Ashra Doji. I said, this motherfucker.
Nah, I caught so many crazy W's at the end of Wano. It was like insane. It was like everybody was just like, saying I was carrying the tinfoil hat, and then it was like 3 chapters in a row where it was like everything I was saying for like 2 years was just like, okay, yeah, Randy was right about this. Randy was right about this. Randy was right.
and then the The SBS about
the SBS about
Tama.
Tama being a Kurozumi.
Yeah, the Kurozumi. I was like,
after I was getting dragged from the chapter where it was her mini flashback and it didn't tell us that. Everybody was like, "Oh, Randy, take this L," and then it was just like Oda was like, "No, hold on, Randy is right."
right. It's like, yo, I gotta do this for my boy. You gotta stop texting him, Randy. You gotta stop texting him. It's enough. Nah, but that's dope. Let me ask you. I'm not sure if I've seen your take on it. I'm not sure if you ever talked about it. The Hiyori stuff with Tama. With you always believing, because with her being the Kurozumi.
I mean, we kind of touched on it a little bit at the end. Like I mean, earlier in the thing is, I would love to see a situation where it's like they do try to like target her for being a Kurozumi, but I just need Momo to stand up and like and just stop it. Like, it should be addressed. I would actually love it if there was like a formal apology from the Kozuki for their part in what happened with
and
the
what they did to the
because it's
that would actually make it better for them, because they're like, the Kurozumi, they're not just traitors.
Because that's the craziest thing for me with Wano too, is like Oda is like glorifying what they did in a way, and it's just like, Oda, don't you realize that like, and I have to say this to some people also, it's just like Oden is a flawed character, like one of the most flawed characters in the entire series, and people like gas him up, and it's just like, this dude is responsible for a lot of this, and his family is responsible for even more. So it's just like the Kozuki clan needs to stand on business and say like, okay, actually all of this hatred and everything that's perpetuated, like, we started this. This is our fault. We fixed it.
Cycle.
We fixed it, but we started this cycle in the first place. If Oden's grandfather or whatever didn't beef it out with the Kurozumi in the first place, like, Orochi would have never existed, which would have never led to the downfall or everything. So it all just starts with the Kozuki. They, that's that. And then Oden on top of it could have stopped it, but was like, nah, I gotta go handle some things. Or he just made bad call after bad call after bad call, and I'm just like,
and then at the end with Hiyori, it was just like, it's like the nail in the coffin, where it was like a chant, like the Kurozumi were born. It's like, well,
Oda was trying to make a pun, but it just sounded like you're doubling down on all of the the racism, like
everything
that's going on with
so far.
and the classism and everything that's going on with this country.
And wasn't Kiku and Izo hunted down too? Wasn't that part of their story?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think they were hunted down for whatever reason as well. That's just like, it seems like it's a part of the culture in Wano, and it would be great for like something to be, like I said, the Kurozumi or the Kozuki apologizing and just giving the Kurozumi some air to breathe, some room to breathe, and like, like everything kind of reshaping history a little bit, taking some responsibility, some accountability.
It's like, it's a crazy thing for me with Wano too, because it's like, it's an inconsistent message from Oda, because it's like Oda throughout the whole story, like, Japan is like a super conformist society, and like, I always feel like Oda with One Piece is like trying to like be the non-conformist, try to change the norm and be like, hey, look, like, there are different people in the world, we can all come together and all this kind of stuff. And then when he gets to Wano, he just kind of like doubles down on like what his country is doing, and doesn't say his piece about it, as if he's like, oh, I don't want to piss off my people, I don't want to piss off Japan. And it's just like, I can go and I can do this in another island, but when everybody's gonna like look at this and say, hey, this is
as
Japan,
representative of Japan,
I can't. And it's just like, Oda, come on, man, like, you've been waving this flag this whole story, and then you're gonna back. You
really gotta address it. The Hiyori.
Like, this
stuff.
is where you need to do it.
Maybe this Yamato journey, maybe we get something there. Oh, maybe that would be great. That would be great for the Kurozumi, and then just like a lot of the character moments in the story. So I got my fingers crossed on that one.
let's see. Blazeries said, "Did you guys forget Odin helped Roger find the One Piece?" No, I didn't forget, but he did that at the expense of his people and his island. So it's like, if he didn't,
also
he could have. Roger's crew was there. He was
they
there.
asked him if he needed help.
He could have stopped everything right there, but then we wouldn't have the story. So it's like, it's almost plot, and it's just like,
it's one of those where it's just like, he pulled up, he's like, oh my god, my wife got attacked, all these things, but
I gotta,
partially,
you got this, right? Cool.
But Toki did say, stay, I'm gonna divorce you. So it's kind of like, but I'm like, if he put like there, but even after the journey, it was almost like, yo, you need help? Like, nah, I got this. This is something I gotta handle. It's like,
and that's that machismo, that's that pride and all that, and that's why I say he's a flawed character, because it's like, no, you know what? Ask for the help.
Do you just help him? Like, just, yeah, sure. That'd be, you know what? Yeah.
We've been through everything. Come on.
You guys come rest up. Come see my country, actually.
Right. Yeah.
Come see Wano. Come celebrate with us.
Like, you want to talk about the solo leveling what if thing? That's what I need. I need the what if. Like, what if Roger really decided to, like, what if they like decided to go to Wano? And then they just see what Kaido's doing, and it's just like, nah, bro, you're not doing this.
Yeah, that's enough. That's enough. But I think, like you said, we kind of enjoy a lot of the flawed characters. The best characters in One Piece flawed. I don't know who you consider the best character. But I look at guys like Dofi, Whitebeard, Sanji, Garp.
Like, most fleshed out characters that had like good character development.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would throw Vivi up there. She had a solid arc. Dofi's there, even though he's not in my like top characters. But if I'm just talking about characters that are fleshed out, like, then I have to be honest and I have to say, like, Crocodile isn't one of those characters that, we haven't had the Crocodile flashback yet, if we're ever going to get it.
Yeah.
But that's also the strength of the character, that he's able to like move and do all this stuff just off of like present day gas. So, Bellamy is a good character, and I think like by the end of the story, I think we're gonna have one more arc with Bellamy that like really brings it full circle.
Yep.
And he'll end up being one of the people at the end of the story that will be able to say this actually was one of the best characters. Like, he starts off as an
considering
asshole,
like where he started from. Yeah.
Like, starts to change in Dressrosa, and then we see that change as he helps Luffy in the final war or something. Maybe sacrifices himself, something, and it's just like, wow, this dude really went all the way around. Kyros.
I'll say this. Yeah, Kyros is a great one. Considering like his character arc. I like Kyros a lot. Trying to think of
obviously
like
Kuma now.
Obscure. Kuma.
I mean, like, Kuma. That's a common one. I was trying to think of more like underrated ones.
The underrated ones. Somebody mentioned Fisher Tiger. Fisher Tiger's the thing is, I feel like Fisher Tiger died a bit too early.
He died a bit too early, and it's also he ended on the wrong message, though.
Right.
So it's the point of his character. It's intentional, but it
feels premature.
Yeah.
It feels like he was there. He was used as like a
catalyst,
like a predecessor. Yeah, exactly. Just to set up Arlong, Jinbei, Hody,
exactly.
And so his character development.
I know I'm wrong,
sacrificed.
and I'm gonna die wrong because
that's
just that's how I feel right now. I don't have enough time in the world to change how I feel about this.
So he's the flawed character that never got the redemption, because if he like tried to kill himself, and then they saved him, and he came back around, and then he, then it's like, oh man, Fisher Tiger. But I think he just it never really came back around for him. So I think he got the message across for sure, but I think that came to the detriment of him being like one of those superb characters. Like I don't think Fisher Tiger is one of those characters that I absolutely love or absolutely hate, but I understand it. I understand that like he is the epitome of true hate, right? Like imagine being willing to die when you can live. Just like, but you'd have to take the blood of somebody you hate. Like that's true hate. Like that he hated humans, right? And he was willing to bet his life on it. And so, I get it. It's just not something I agree with, because I think he'd be more valuable to his people alive than dead, considering what he meant to them. So, the character is important, but just not one of those for me. Corazon, what's Corazon's missing for me?
I love Corazon, but we didn't spend enough time.
It feels kind of one track.
Yeah.
like
Great character.
He was always.
Love him,
yeah.
But it's like I gotta help Law. I gotta help Law. I gotta help Law. I gotta help Law. And it's like what I need from him is like I would need a example of his journey as a Marine, seeing that turn to go after his brother, and it's like all of that stuff before would inform everything that came after, and it would feel like, okay, maybe what if there were examples of Corazon being really selfish? So then
I need more.
So then we see him being selfless with Law. We're like, wow, okay, now he came full circle.
Now he's growing.
He's growing.
They made it seem like Corazon was just born like a good kid, and he was always this type of kid, and Dofi was just different and opposite of him. And so like he was always this kid that was just trying to do good. And so
the best characters are the characters that start one way and end a different way. So it's like that's the characters that we're thinking of. That's when you're seeing a character that really, kind of moves through things.
You want to see more, not necessarily nuance, but for Corazon, we just didn't see enough, right? Yeah. We just didn't see enough. And so I think honestly what Corazon does is help Doflamingo's character. Just because we saw the other side, like his brother, what he was willing to do, and Doflamingo just being the complete opposite and doubling down in many different ways. And so I don't think Corazon, maybe he doesn't get enough credit, but I think it's one of those things that like if Oda gave us a spinoff, it could definitely elevate him as a character. Like for Kuma, right? We got Kuma's backstory, and I was like, oh like this guy is incredible, For as little as he was in the story and everything, and as late in the game he was introduced, I would put Cat up there. Katakuri? Yeah. Because he was a different example of a character. Like he wasn't like just your average antagonist. Like this dude was just trying to protect his family. And he started one way and ended a different way by the end of that fight. Like it was it's a short example. There are better examples in the story, but that was that's a good. I think there's a reason why people like Katakuri, right? And I think him and his journey fighting Luffy, like, how he was conflicted, his questions at the end, and how Oda put the bow on it with him and Brule. I think more than anything, like that was, I don't think a panel had done more for me than that Brule panel at the end with Katakuri. Yeah. Like just seeing Brule where Kat was like, oh shit. All right, Brule. But I do think Katakuri is one of those characters. I don't put him on the tier of like Garp and those guys. But I think he's right there as far as like great characters. I'm not sure exactly what more I need. Maybe the full turn. Maybe I need that, where it's like I need him to have conviction in his new beliefs. Where I think he's still a bit not necessarily conflicted, but it's just like, I'm not ready to step out there yet, even though this is what I believe. And I think if he steps out there and then there's reform within the Big Mom Pirates, then I think I would get the satisfaction that I need in regards to that character.
The opportunity is there. The opportunities are, Garp is already, a good character. He's getting fleshed out more. I think by the end of the story, he'll be like one of the best written characters in the series. I think that Smoker has that opportunity as well. If Oda,
potential is there.
The potential is there if Oda decides to not forget about him.
If he focuses on Smoker, Smoker can just be. I mean, Smoker was already one of the best, and I think for whatever reason, people look at him differently, and his character, for whatever reason, suffered in Punk Hazard. But I think it's like, I think when you look at him, it's like I think it should add to it, considering like what he's willing to do just to,
We need the full turn from Smoker. That's that's it, and then it'll warrant the promise that Oda had at the beginning of the story, and I think that it hasn't happened yet because Oda always planned for it to happen like in probably the final saga at the end game of the story anyway. That's what he was building in Loketown, what he was building in Alabasta, and then the story didn't end up being 5 to 7 years like he planned, so Smoker fell into the back burner because he wants him to come in at the end.
Yeah, he was saving him a little bit. He's like, all right, I don't know where he actually fits in. Let's just wait. And so,
And that's why so many characters from the early part of the story are coming back now, because they're finally fitting into the original plan that Oda had.
It's going to be one big reunion. I like it.
Yep. So I think there were 2 other super chats, and then I'm ready to call it. Yamil Diaz said, I think Hanafuda is Ulti's dad and a T-Rex. We talked about both of those, so I agree with the T-Rex thing. I think I talked myself out of the Ulti's dad thing.
I think it's the timeline doesn't match up.
Yeah, it's a cool idea. If it was years prior. Growth Stocks Superden said, shout out to my 2 favorite OP creators. Zoro's gonna get his first Black Blade in Elbaf by cutting the uncuttable Atom Tree. Yeah, maybe. I mean, we'll see. I think the Black Blade has to come from fighting Mihawk.
Mihawk, yeah.
Like that's feels, gonna feel earned.
Yeah, if he just cuts down a tree, it's like people will not be satisfied. They're like, wait, he got a Black Blade? With the 3rd person in the story to get a Black Blade, and he got it from cutting down a tree?
What I like is the imagery might reflect cutting down the giant jack. So like there's possibility there, but I still would want something new with that as well. I don't want the same.
I just need a little more. I need
same, but different.
As special as the Black Blades have been, I think based so far in the story, Black Blades might be I think it's Black Blades are literally up there with like the voice of all things as far as the people who have them.
Yeah.
All right, like only 2, right? That's it. Ryuma, Mihawk. And so when it's something like that, it has to mean something. Or else if you kind of trivialize it, it then loses all its meaning, even though you've been building it the entire story. So you have to be careful with the Black Blade thing. I don't think it can just be him just cutting down a tree.
No, it's got to be him being Mihawk.
It has to be something.
It has to be the realization of him achieving his dream manifests into the blade, and the blade feels satisfied. It's sending a message from the heavens to Kuina, who is then,
savage,
helping will the blade together. Whatever Oda wants to.
Understanding the will of the blade, right? You have to understand the will of the blade while beating Mihawk.
The blade has a promise on it. The promise to the blade is, I'm going to be the world's greatest swordsman. So once that is satisfied,
achieve that promise,
that's when the blade becomes black.
And I think even through like the integrity as well of how you do it matters, right? It has to be done the blade's way. And so that's why I think Black Blades are so rare, is because you have to kind of listen to the blade and adhere to some of the blade's wishes. So, you know, I think that's why someone like Roger, Shanks, Whitebeard, you know, it wasn't about what the blade wanted. It's about like, I want to, I want to do this.
You have to be
that's my
open to
partner.
the idea that the blade has its own soul, that the blade has its own personality, that the blade has its own will. Most people would hear what like Ipamatsu is saying in the store and like laugh it off. Oh, the sword is cursed, or whoa, I don't want that, or whatever. And it's like, but Zoro's not. He's built different. It's just like, well, let's see what's stronger, my will, or the blade's curse. So
where for people like even like Odin, they say Odin was able to overcome and dominate the blade. You know, where it's like I think that's one step, but I think after that you kind of, you know, become intertwined and like learn the blade's will, because even when Onimaru, when he was talking, when he was, you know, talking to Zoro, it was like, wait, that's what you think it is? It's like, I didn't expect you to still be this ignorant, right? Where you, like, you don't understand, like you really don't understand what it is. So I think Zoro still has to learn what the blade wants and kind of get a bit deeper.
Maybe that comes from all of this, you know, Nika stuff, this stuff with Bonnie, the idea of, you know, breaking the shackles of your mind, breaking the shackles of belief. You know, it's like, I think that Joy Boy probably went about things the same way that Odin did. You know, it was just like, maybe it wasn't brute force, but it was the technology. Like, I'm going to run in and fight the 20 kings with a whole bunch of, like, pilled up dudes. And Luffy can change that and say, no, I'm going to do it without the crutch of that. Like, these people are going to be riding with me just off of belief.
Yeah.
You know, which is also going to contrast Blackbeard to bring our whole conversation full circle, where it's just like Blackbeard's crew, they're literally drinking the Jim Jones Kool-Aid of Blackbeard and just saying like, no, this man is fated to do all of this. Like, I'm riding with him because he knows things and like he opened my eye, you know, to some of this stuff.
He's proven us like right, you know, for believing in him time and time and time and time again. Why would I not believe in him? I think that's one of the things that the Straw Hats do with Luffy. And you got to think about it, how many times Luffy has come through for them, right? Just off of just belief. We're like in Whole Cake Island, like, all right, Luffy's going to come out that mirror. Like, how he's going to come out that mirror? I don't know. He's going to come out of there. And so it's just like Luffy went into the mirror with like a commander of the Big Mom Pirates. And he put him in there himself. He's like, yo, I got this. And it was like, all right, bet. Let's just do what we can, and we just got to believe in Luffy. And so the same thing with Blackbeard. It's like, he got them from inmates, and now he's a Yonko. And so it's just, you know, you got to be, it's like we go back to like, you know, bring things full circle, how we started the stream. It's belief. And so,
whether or not, you know, we get an army of Nika-powered individuals in the final saga or not, belief will still play a major role in all of this. And has been. It's the key to it all.
Even with the revolutionaries, right? Like how with Bella Betty, and like how they were going about liberating countries. It wasn't that they had all the resources and all. They were like, they wanted to go and convince these people that, yo, you can stand up, you know, you can stand up and do this yourself. Like, you can help us help you. So yeah, belief, man.
Shout out to the last superhero, very motivated. The sun rises in the east, and those characters from the beginning, East Blue, early Grand Line, are coming back to bring the dawn.
Yeah, it just made me think of Smoker was also at Roger's execution, huh?
Sure was.
So yeah, it's all coming full circle.
Yep. So I'm gonna wrap the talk here. We went longer than I thought we would, but I mean, this was a great chat. Great chat. People are saying that they love the stream, and
chat's been great all day too. Shout out to the chat.
Shout out to the chat. Make sure that you like this. Let people know that it was a good discussion. We're back in algorithm jail, guys. So if you missed the last video, that's out, where I go into some of the things that we did talk about this stream in a little more length. And we'll be back here for 11:20 on Sunday. Make sure that if you're not already following our boy Brago, catch him at B.D.A. Law. Anything that you're proud of recently you want everybody to be directed to, man?
I can't think of anything. I would say just go watch Randy's theory about Calgary, and how he's related to the
The Luffy lineage,
to the Monkey D
theory,
family. Yeah. Because I'm gonna watch that right after this. So I don't know if you want to.
And check out the Sun God Usopp theory.
Yeah, check out all that. Check out all that. Randy always kills it with the theory. So go to that. But always a great time. Always love coming on the channel and just like throwing shit at each other, and it's always a great time. So
yeah, no, I appreciate you.
This is fun. This is fun. Always, always, always. So yeah, like and subscribe, people. For sure.
Yeah. See you guys soon.
Peace out.
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.
This is stream. This is stream my reaction to the theory. I might.